All right. So thank God these guys are professionals. What achievement did you just get logging in to EU? The Corporally sector needs heroes. Oh, your Overwatch chief. Way to go, Zombie Grub. Way to
Oh,
go.
thank you. What was first map?
Annihilation Station.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna make a tweet. Next up, best of 9, featuring Liquid Snute versus uThermal. That's weird. At God on Twitter isn't working. Maybe at Terran God?
Huh.
I guess
Oh.
it's uThermal.
Oh.
What's kind of funny is this series could actually really... This is two very opposing forces. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. I want to finish up this tweet first. Okay, their tweets made. If you guys could do us a favor, get on there and retweet. I actually want to talk about this because Twitter changed things recently, so you guys understand the power that you have. Some of you always make jokes like, oh, I'm going to retweet to, like, 0 people. Sure, Rifkin, I'll help. And they say it sarcastically. But Twitter's got this really dumb way of working now where, like, the more a tweet is liked or retweeted, the more likely it's going to show up in someone else's news feed if they haven't logged in recently. So you actually do help us out quite a bit with these retweets and favorites, even if you don't think you do. But... we'll link that in a moment. The thing I was going to comment on, though, for the opposing forces is just how different Snute and uThermal play and where their strengths lie in StarCraft 2. Without a doubt, Snute's the macro player. Without a doubt, Snute can win almost every single late-game TVZ right now with relative ease, even. uThermal is an aggressive guy. He likes his Hellbat pushes. He likes getting in your face with 5 racks, no gas. Like, what the hell? This guy, he's not cheesy, but he's aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
after speaking with Snute at DreamHack Austin, and we were talking about this tournament in particular, he said, like, I don't like playing against uThermal. Like, I don't like playing against uThermal.
So they got me the list of vetoes, just equally good. But apparently Snute vetoed New Gettysburg, so it wouldn't take an hour.
No! That's okay, because it means we get to see other maps, which is kind of the point of the tournament, even though we're falling in love with a couple. New sub alert, though, Zombie Grub. New sub alert.
Woohoo!
Shout out
Who
to
is it?
Scarlett. Thank you for subbing. I guess it's a resub technically, but she did drop her sub for a while, so thank you, Scarlett, nonetheless. I do hope Korea's treating you well, and I hope you're not too tired after that really long ZvT.
Where Take is coming too? No?
They
Yes?
should be. I don't know where they are. They might be delaying on purpose to try and play ads. German efficiency, my ass. All right, let me message him on
Oh.
Skype. Coming. I know Take TV is also doing an Overwatch tournament this weekend. I think Nathanius is over there casting or something. It's kind of interesting. I just want to play some more Overwatch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun, It's shooting things and whatnot. Anyways, so first map is Annihilation Station, and then I'll have to copy paste the flipping map pool. This is the worst.
Yeah. If he's not responding, if they're not here in the next like 3 minutes, we'll just start without him. They're gonna be covering the Civil War too, and I can't delay that too much by waiting around forever for them. So I do want to comment though that I actually truly do think that Bly and Scarlet Game 7 on Iris was probably my favorite map played though so far in all of the maps played. Even that New Gettysburg map, as hyped as I got for it, like seeing not just that game go back and forth, forgetting the Ultralisk force fields as they were, there's just a lot of really cool action that happened in that game, and I really liked it.
I actually like the overall New Gettysburg map game better, but I liked the Ultralisk thing made it just so much better for the ZvT. Did they both say ready? Yes, they did.
Yeah. All right. We'll deal with him later. All right, let's hop into the lobby, or into the game screen, excuse me, for Annihilation Station. Pulling this up on the Team Liquid thread again, so we don't misdo this. This is made by Mavis. Oh, this is the dude who won't tell us the secret of the numbers. I don't want to credit him. Just kidding. All right, this is a map made by Mavis, guys. Annihilation Station. And to show you what I mean by numbers, there's weird numbers at each of these bases. He says we're supposed to figure out what they mean, but I've got no clue.
I'm not a numbers person. I'm not a puzzle person. This isn't happening.
Right. So if anyone in chat figures it out, let us know, because that'd be cool to see. But this is a best of 9, starting fresh and brand new for the Blizzard-sponsored map contest tournament. In the bottom left side, we've got the Blue Zerg player from Team Liquid, Snute.
Aww. How did we miss a hold the door comment with the Ultras? In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is uThermal.
You don't even watch Game of Thrones!
Well, that explains why I didn't think about it. But...
you... I get that chat brings it up.
Can you take a clip of it and just you know, can Nice Username do like a clip of that and then a clip of Game of Thrones?
I hope not.
Just smash them together.
You've ruined this for me.
You've ruined it. Ruined all the good things.
We got some seriously awesome resubs coming in though. Hitting us up first with TechMage12 for the 12-month resub. Send us a message so we can get you a form for your Partoof. Nova War. Oh, Nova War. That guy's voice. So good. Think of a 3-month resub. Do you not know who that is?
Nope.
Do you ever listen to any of Maximus Black stuff, like the When Cheese Fails and all those?
Nope.
What? You're such a filthy casual sometimes. I swear to God. Like, you only watch Twitch StarCraft streams, and you don't even watch most of those.
I only ever really watched Korean Twitch StarCraft streams.
Okay,
so
well, let me just tell you, it's worth looking up to hear his voice alone. Okay.
If he was the other guy that does it with him, then I know what his voice sounds like.
Yeah. Well then.
Because I've watched like 1 or 2, like I know what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? Some of these games, I'm wishing it was like When Cheese Fails. Speaking of which, like we've had a lot of really, in 3 best of 9s up to this point, not really a lot of cheese games. This is a series where I hope and think we will see some. Again, this hinges I think a lot more on uThermal than Snute.
It's gonna be him, I think, pushing and prodding and you know, moving the game forward, you know, like it's gonna put Snute in, I guess, the Zerg, you know, reaction way, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's uThermal, pretty damn aggressive. I'm sure he'll be looking for all the abusive spots on these maps as well. If he had just taken like a quick look at yesterday's VODs with BCQD, he would already be pretty inspired. I could try and tell you what maps those were, but that would take a long time. So
To look up and be like, I don't know.
There's Namaste, and that is in the map pool for them. So I got 1. I'm good.
Well, I don't know about inspired or not, but we talked about out of game. I'm going to mention it again now because we're in game, and I don't know if the VOD will include it or not. But Snute's a very macro-oriented player. He really likes to play the late game. He's boasted about the fact that he's like unbeatable if he can get to Hive Tech pretty much in most situations versus Terran. And uThermal is the exact opposite. He's the guy who really excels at early game aggression. He wins the games when ultras aren't in play, and whether it's Hellbat pushes or otherwise. So these are going to be 2 very opposing forces going forward. And while this first map will be a kind of a taste into a best of 9, I really do think uThermal's got in and to pull out like 3 Raxes and Reapers and other weird things on some of these maps. Again, the Cloud Kingdom map being one of the ones I think of immediately with how badly that went with poor Lambo yesterday.
Absolutely agree. I really am looking forward to this best of 9 to like basically prove that Terran is not going to get this automatic, you know, head start because of the shenanigans. Oh, that was such a good one on mine hit.
I mean, it killed the SCV, but it's still, yeah, got all the lings. Not a problem.
But they're not the ones going to benefit the most from having new maps. Not always going to be winning 5-0 like we saw with BCD versus Lambo, because they can find those tank spots, they can find the 3 rack cheaper spots. They just, you know, they're the ones abusing it maybe a little bit more. BCD did win 5-0, didn't he? Or 5-1?
It was 5-0.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, and I think Snute certainly has it in him to not let that happen. Plus, I think not that Lambo did anything bad with his choices, they were the ultimate first players on these maps, you know, past anyways.
What am I know? Are you for real?
But Stu might be, you know, have a little bit more knowledge, have a little more time to look him up. Yeah, that Widowmine's been a boss. It's cleaned up, though.
Yeah, Sport Crawler being friendly to you. So I guess there are a couple of entrances where you do get maybe a little bit worried, but uThermy hasn't really done anything too dangerous yet with ground pushes. And His name, I love his silly name. He actually name changes quite a bit too as a comment. 'Cause he was like Maru Thermal for a while too. But double medevac pickups mean they're, oh no, this is bad. That timing was terrible.
That's so bad. Well, it's not only bad for the natural in what almost was the main, but the third is on location. I thought that was going to be the one that was canceled, but uThermal is just like, oh, I guess I can't do anything about that. Let's just drop.
Might as well pull the boys while I'm at it.
Oh, no.
He is going to try and repair the top of the ramp, and I don't think he'll lose this because there is no banelings, but this is a lot of SCVs lost. You could argue the third CC finishing up will be worth it if he can trade out enough damage, though, because Stim's done. He'll hop on top of these drones. He'll kill some queens. And while uThermal has no defense at home, neither does Snute.
Yeah, no banelings, just a lot of lings. It would have been great if they had caught the Marines unloading. But they
focus fires down 2 queens right away. Starts stuttering away from the drones. Lots of damage is being done, and now back to Snute in Churn. And with the third CC finishing, if that becomes an orbital, mules are going to outpower any amount of workers.
Oh my god, if that had just like 6 lings on top of it, it would have had to been canceled. Oh no. And he sees it too with the Overlord.
Oh, we just got a really awesome resub. You'd like to have him on a desert island. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Hearthstone for the 4-month resub.
Well, thanks for making me sound like a perv.
Well, I mean, you did say you'd rather have him on a desert island.
In response to your question,
I mean, would you have him on a desert island?
Wow, that's rude. Anyways, so another pretty good Widowmine hit. This is still a dicey scenario for both players. His Snute isn't on an ideal drone count. uThermal's not on an ideal SCV count, but he should be the one recovering faster with triple SCVs, triple mules.
Yeah, I agree, but he's still not taking control of the situation just yet. Main's been cleaned up finally. We'll start to deal with these lings. Yeah, I've praised him before. I'll do it again. Like, uThermal's got really great control in this game. I think this was well displayed. I think a lesser Terran chooses, and I'm not saying this is the better or worse decision, but chooses to just not even try to attack in that situation and just drops back at home one at a time into lings and has a bad time. Like, uThermal choosing to go across the map is ballsy, but efficient because he was able to control his units well enough to make use of it. Third CC is now turning into an orbital. We'll see if those mules will be good or not. The SCVs, I'm not sure are a big deal right now because he's only in 2-base mining, but he kept the engineering base alive, so upgrades are coming in. He does need to get a wall back up at some point. Or try to, at least. While combat shields will time out perfectly for this drop, so he'll have a little extra health on these Marines. It'll be a little bit harder to kill. Still no banelings just yet out of Snute.
No, in fact, with how, like, you know, desperate it seemed for a while there without banelings, I'm surprised he's not bothering with any.
This would be such a sick spot for a tank.
Yes, it would. Yeah, I wonder if uThermal's going to notice that, but he's not going for tanks, so even if he did, oh well, he's going for Liberators, which still kind of holds the same, I guess, value. But thanks to Eric Mai, or Eric Me, for the 20-month resub.
Woo! Big subs, celebrity subs. Today's a good day.
Yeah, celebrities, totally.
Okay, esports, StarCraft celebrities, come down, whatever.
So, double drops are going to start getting annoying without anything to take them down, really, although unless uThermal just, like, lets it be taken down by a Spore Crawler, okay. Yeah. There's no Spire on the way. So we did have a Roach Warren, like, this is surprising, right? Like, because didn't go for Baneling Nest. Okay, if you're going to transfer over to Roaches, you know, fine, that's whatever, but he's still upgrading the Lings, too. So I wonder if there's going to be an attempt to go to Fast Ultras. Still an Infestation Pit, though, so that can't really be the option either. But basically, I'm just not sure which one Snute's like going with this. Basically, it's 4 bases, he's 70 drones. He certainly can really start to do almost whatever he wants. He could solo with an army. He could try and tech up, but just for now, only getting those upgrades.
Well, drop coming to the main, gonna try and do some damage. This one's actually gonna get away with a little bit. This is the thing for uThermal, he just keeps chipping away at you. And it looks like the Ravagers are actually going to be picked off by the Liberators, so one's going to go down to the Spore Crawler. If he keeps the other one alive, now there's no Ravagers to shoot it out of the sky. Positioning here is not so great, though. He's behind the mineral. He's still getting some pretty decent kills. uThermal, who, I mean, there was that brief moment earlier, it looked like the game was already over, has certainly fought his way back into this.
Yeah, I still feel pretty damn good for uThermal. But again, a lot of that is just questioning what Snute is up to. So 12 more drones, partially to make up for drone losses, but also just to extend his drone count to 78. That is so much. But his army is still not that impressive. You know, he's actually not really getting that much army. His upgrades are going to be impressive, as I guess uThermal was a little bit late on that armory, so that's a little unfortunate for him. But double drops, triple drops.
Hearthstone in chat, love it. Clueless about the desert island comment. Don't watch the VODs from yesterday, man. That's all I could say. Liberators are going to start leapfrog in. Not really going to be too efficient, but the queens are also
On hold position. Oh, that's
So
close.
you kind of mentioned before, by the way, what is Snute doing, and question marks for that. Oh, this is bad for uThermal. I was going to try and deal with these links. I was going to comment, though, Snute's not exactly rushing to Hive, which is interesting, because, again, once he gets to Ultras, he seems to do best in StarCraft. But I think a lot of this, because uThermal's kept up this constant pressure, Snute's not had the freedom to really just casually get Ultralisks out.
I feel like he has, though. Like, it is just drops, which usually... If you have any army at all, they shouldn't really be devastating. And he's done a decent enough job defending against, and he's banking a lot of money, a lot of gas. I don't know. He does start it now, but it feels like it could have been done a lot sooner and not really been a loss to him.
Well, there's the Infestation Pit, but more importantly, while the army distracts up here, we do have a Siege Tank finally out. And it's going to be really cool to see where he puts the positioning for that, because unfortunately, it does feel like a lot of the map makers have left opportunities where Siege Tanks can and should be abused.
Yes.
Especially down here.
Unfortunately, uThermal really started tank production quite late.
Oh no! Once again, Link's gonna run into his third.
You should be okay. Yeah,
I don't know. It's gonna lose a lot of SCVs. Get a bunker.
Yeah, probably just get a bunker.
But the attack on the other side of the map is just as deadly, if not deadlier. We'll see if this ends up getting too much. The Lings are trying to get on top of the Marines, but no surround to be had. We got Ravagers coming in. No Corrosive Biles dropping though, so he stims forward, gets on top of them before they can hit anything. Queen goes down. Tank's still mostly untouched. Pick it up. Okay, it's gonna go down. It looks like he holds on to the third by lifting it, since the rest home. Drop inside the natural base, and this is why you can't you can't just go fast ultras versus uThermal. Like if Snute didn't have this army, if he wasn't prancing around the middle of the map with 2/2 on upgrades, uThermal would have just torn him a new, well, you know what.
But it's still, I still think he could have done it a lot sooner. And been fine. This was a definitely unfortunate. He wasn't in position. He didn't have the right army in the right positions. More importantly, his Lings in a counterattack were, of course, desperately missing from the defense as well. But I still think Snute's fine going for this Hive. And again, maybe he could have done it sooner, maybe not. But he's got the Infestation Pit now. We're researching patching plans. His Hive is about halfway done. His army supply still isn't that bad. No longer has the upgrade lead, which was definitely helpful. But still, he's probably gonna be able to get to ultras. uThermal's push was good looking. It did some damage, but it didn't really stop Snute from going to ultras.
So let's not forget something that needs to be brought up. The balance patch is live as of yesterday, and one of the big changes that would affect this matchup the most would be Liberators. They do significantly less damage to Corruptors. However, in the end of the Corsair Cup, we also saw Liberators can still get wrecked by Liberators can still wreck Corruptors if there's enough of them. So questionable, but I do like the emphasis here on the range. He's at least gonna have something to shoot the ultras. Problem is though, I just really don't trust in Liberators, not the same way you can with Ghosts and other units. Bandit ship.
That's pretty good. I really like Snute's constant attacks on this third base, by the way. They're not really working out anymore, but I like the attempt. Again, a drop being denied. Nice focus fire on that medevac there. And the Marines shouldn't be able to do much more. They are not doing much more. This is going to be really worrying for uThermal. He is not just down 20 army supply or 30 regular supply or something like that. He's down 60, 70 supply. And no fourth base? Yeah, that's just his main lifting. It's
actually like a reverse Terran situation, because normally it's Terran take all these little trades and start getting ahead in bits and pieces like what we're seeing here, but it's Snute who got ahead, and uThermal, despite a lot of really cool action and a lot of good damage, it just wasn't enough to really put Snute in a dangerous spot. Now pushing with the Ravagers and Lings, he doesn't even need that Hive tech, he doesn't even need those Ultras. He might just win the game with what he currently has.
Yeah, it looks like it. He's doubling the army supplies, pretty decent upgrades too. Just need to take care of the Liberators, which he definitely will.
Yeah, they
I
go
don't think
down.
we're really Ravagers left over, but there's barely any Marines. This game.
Just one desperate attempt for the Liberator on the other side of the map.
GG.
All right, looks like Snute's gonna start the series off 1-0. Not too bad for him. But of course, it is gonna be loser's pick. We'll let uThermal figure out what map he'd like. We'll get into some commercials to get them out of the way. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes.
Did you see when they're ready?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're back from the ads. And yeah, when the players are ready, we'll get. Yep, we'll get into it. Apotheiosis is gonna be the map up next. This one is by -0. It's also the really skinny vertical map. We did see it yesterday. You guys may remember it, but some of you are likely seeing it for the first time. So we will take a quick exploration tour together as we get into the game. Countdown has begun. Let's just swap over.
Explorers. We're like Lorecroft.
Does she know everybody's story?
I don't know.
Because it's
Why?
Lorecroft.
Oh, because like lore. I get it.
It's just like a crappy version of StarCraft. Just all it does is tell the story. There's no fighting. Okay, best of 9 continues as we get into game number 2. Spawning here in the bottom right side of Apotheiosis, it's going to be the red Zerg player, Team Liquid's Snute. Currently up 1-0 at the moment.
In the top left. Oh, this map is so skinny.
Yeah.
It is the blue Terran uThermal.
Probably can't eat any calories. Quickly crediting the map maker again appropriately, just to put it here if you guys want to learn more or look up other maps this guy's done. His name is -0. You can check that out in the Team Liquid thread and all that good jazz. Boink. But alright, so as we get into this game, quickly exploring the maps, you can all see it's a massive main. I'm not a fan of a main this big. This is too big. I know some people like a booty like this, but they ain't for me. The natural base is actually pretty appropriately sized, and then your third gets questionable because of the direction you take it. You can knock down rocks and take a gold, or have the rocks knocked down upon you after taking the gold. It's dangerous. There's also a position down here to use tanks and liberators and whatnot. This base is a lot more secure and a little bit more linear, so we'll probably see people expand, I imagine, horizontally instead of vertically on this map.
That's
Even though there's like a pocket base. Again, it's just like it's on the other side of these rocks that makes it so hard to question whether you want to take it or not.
That's what we saw the last time we saw it. So, speaking of which, that is the game that kind of set the tone for the last TVZ Best of 9 with BCQD doing a tank push that really, it didn't look so unbeatable, but it did look very strong. And again, if uThermal did any research whatsoever, he could probably know that. Or if he just looked at the map, he would probably figure that out too. But I don't know his life. I don't know if he did any research.
I feel really bad, by the way, just checking Twitter between game. Actually, quick note, if you guys remember seeing Bridgehead, the middle of the map is very similar to that with the pathing and bridges and ramps. But just seeing Bly tweet to Avex about that bug on the map, it was really unfortunate. Like, again, it sucks that Bly lost, and I would have loved to see that go to game 9. But a quick comment, I'm just saying, like, it's important that we find out about these bugs, so situations like what we saw don't ever happen on the ladder and don't happen in any sort of tournament play. So some of these maps won't make it. Straight up, there's 15 maps. There's only 7 maps in the ladder. Over half of these maps will literally not even have a chance to play in the next ladder. But we still want to refine these as much as possible, make them as good as we can, because that's the whole point of this map contest. Not just for the map makers to get a little bit of money and have their maps like put on the front line of StarCraft, but also to ensure better quality play considering how bad this current season or past seasons of maps were. It was so bad they resorted to pulling maps out from like 2 years ago. Frost and King Sejong Station to replace them.
They stole that idea. Too.
They lent the idea out first and then utilized it later.
I guess that's true. Well, yeah, I don't really. It's not that I hate the current map pool, especially with the 2 new maps. I think it's very exciting, but it is so refreshing, even on a really imbalanced map, to have a new, interesting, kind of even silly sometimes map. So, I certainly hope they put more than 2, which is going to be like the average of what they put in for the maps.
If I can be honest, I am just straight up sad Detox, actually, I don't know if it was even submitted. I would have hoped Detox would have made it. Like, that was actually a fantastic map that we got to test over 2 tournaments.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, too. But oh well. So nothing's really happening in this game. We do have, I guess, the choice being made from Snute not to try and take the gold base. Maybe he was the one that looked at those VODs for just even a second and realized that's not so good. Although honestly, like when you look at it and you're like, okay, why is this gold base, dangerous? Because that's the first thing you should really be asking about gold bases, unless it's pre-on terraces, and that's because there's a ledge. So I think that should be figured out pretty quickly. So he's gonna, expand horizontally.
Nice
initially.
Overlord speed to scout, so you'll see everything in the base of Snute. We do have someone in chat, Hendrix3, asking where the money comes from this BaseTradeTV, and the answer is no. It's brought to you by Blizzard, guys. They sponsored this whole damn thing. They put the money together. They asked us to help organize and cast and get all the players and whatnot. So big thanks to Blizzard for helping make this possible. There's a thought I would like to add to this we haven't really discussed up to this point, where we talked about it briefly, I think, yesterday. We had the option to invite Koreans, and it wasn't just because we didn't want to see all-ins. But Blizzard gets a majority of its feedback from Kespa right now anyways. It's kind of a nice way to give foreigners a voice through this tournament.
It seems like all the advice they're getting, though, is from Korean Zergs.
Korean Zergs, you might not even be like the best Zergs. I'm just saying, when you've got people like No Regret and Scarlet outperforming them, like...
Oh.
I'm deadly serious. Sulky and Armani losing to No Regret was surprising and astonishing. But this bunker is going to hold, so unfortunate for Snute, not going to be able to break it, but good for uThermal. Tank drop comes down on the other side of the map. Not a lot one single tank can do to Queens, but a good thing that this gold base wasn't taken, or mining would be shut down off of this. Scans to clean up creep tumors too. Interesting.
Worth probably. Actually, I don't know. The queen's already there. That was questionable. Snute's gonna go for a fairly quick lair here. You know, he's getting it at least before his upgrades have started. He's also getting double evolution chambers. I'm guessing it's gonna be Spire play, as there's no Roach Warren yet. So.
Yo, if he knocked down these rocks and had a tank/marine drop going on right now, this would be so sick. I mean, not Hearthstone. What am I saying? Hearthstone. The Snute would have to walk all the way around just to even get on top of that.
Oh, it is going to be roaches. My bad. Okay, so I guess he felt very comfortable in the early game, didn't feel the necessity of putting down an earlier Roach Warren, so waits for basically everything. Gets it all at once. Roach Warren double upgrades 4 said roaches, as well as soon enough roach speed with that lair. And that's, I mean, okay. Like, I think we saw Mutilating Bling last time on this map, so it'll be interesting to see the roach play on this map now with a different Zerg. uThermal, as I was like looking at the production tab, did get 2 tech labs on his barracks to get that combat shield moving just like a tiny bit quicker. He really doesn't have any upgrades on his own, speaking of like the 1-1, despite having an engineering bay, and I wonder if that's a mistake. Well, no, he's pretty close in his gas right now. But this does feel very like
all in.
Yeah, very short-sighted, you know, and maybe it'll work beautifully, like with the amount of positions you can get with tanks.
You know, yesterday it was a lot of these 2-base sort of all-ins coming out of Beastie that just brute force Lambo down. So we know that this can work versus Zerg. The question is whether it works versus this Zerg. That is a considerably large army coming across the map, and the tanks make this army even more effective. More queens are being made just to spend some of that money right now, but I feel like Snute's got such a small amount of Ravagers and Roaches, I don't know that this will hold up necessarily. But oh no, the wall's down! The rally gets caught, Marine's hiding behind the mineral line. Snute gets on top of this pretty quickly, but uThermal's not going to be phased by it. Still pushes in on the map, but he's got to get those tanks out of the medevacs. Loses one to the queens right away. That
was a really nice snipe, and of course it was because uThermal was divvying up his multitasking and his attention here, and that did cost him a tank. Snute probably was going to have to give up that 4th base no matter what happened, so that's not so bad yet. He could try and just retake it over at the gold base. Oh, actually, probably not the gold base. That's also a terrible spot to take it with those tanks. But uThermal's really pushing in quite hard here. He sees an opportunity without enough roaches.
Oh my god, the focus fire on the Ravagers. But the problem is those Spore Crawlers are like shooting down the medevacs. The Queens took down the medevacs. There's not really a lot of support for what's left. And while this is a really cool, really aggressive attack out of uThermal, I don't know that this all-in's paying off just yet.
I agree. I don't think it's paying off just yet, but the rally is still pretty strong. You know, Snute didn't really kill that many SCVs, and an upgrade's about to finish as well. He's really missing those tanks and those medevacs, and this is a long map.
That 13th dying was massively critical to this not dealing too much damage. I mean, he can't even leapfrog the one tank he has forward. That's the problem. Even with the safety of the Liberators, Ravagers pose too great of a threat, and there's not enough medevacs to back that up if one gets sniped. So round 2, another tank does advance forward. It's still only 1 medevac. He's still producing just Liberators. I really feel like a second medevac is not just nice, but necessary to this.
I agree.
The longer
the
he
Liberators, the Liberator Siege Hop could be, I mean, something as well, but there's so many Ravagers.
This is going to be bad. He tries to focus on the Ravagers to make sure he doesn't have anti-air capabilities, but Snute's dealt with most of the bio, and without the Marines underneath this, there really is no protection for the Liberators. They'll get picked off one at a time with these corrosive biles. Snute casually expands to a 4th while this goes on as well.
Yeah, I really wondered where he was going to take that 4th base, because the gold would just be even like easier to siege up. Yeah, exactly. But the far right might have been okay, as there's not much aggression over here. It seems kind of silly to put it in the left side, where it looks like that's where uThermal is sending his units, but it is on like a 5th.
I think it was the last medevac was picked off, so there's no shuffling those tanks. They get picked off. GG gets called. Snute's going to take a 2-0 lead now in the series.
Quite good.
Yeah,
so if uThermal continues with his map choosing strategy, which is alphabetical, what would it be? F, G, N, P, P, C, Calium.
Okay, well, we'll see if he picks it or not. We'll go to a break, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. We'll get the next lobby set up. Quick reminder, Civil War is still happening today. It's just happening after this best of 9 concludes. All right, so uThermal was 100% serious about the alphabetical order thing, so we're actually going to get to Calium next. That's... I mean, we've seen worse reasonings to pick maps, so... Calium Plateau is a really... it's that weird gold-based map, quote-unquote, we talked about earlier. Like, the gold bases were questionable because there was, like, not exactly a lot of them. I don't know. I'll get into it, though, as the countdown does begin now. We got all the casters in here. Again, thank you to both TV and Emil for joining us. And, of course, O Gaming will be probably casting the replays of this at some point. As I do know they want to join in some of the map contest stuff live. Question mark. O Gaming really is just kind of like their own thing. Like, just kind of like, okay, you guys do you. If you come, great. If you don't, I don't really care. But, all right. Game number 3, excuse me. As I get the wrong score here on the board. In the bottom right, he's down 2 games. We'll see if we can bring it back here for this third one. It was his map pick. After all, alphabetically, it's uThermal.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, he's Liquid Snute.
Although I guess alphabetically, Snute comes before uThermal.
That's true. Does that matter?
No, I'm just... The way I said it made it sound like I was talking about their names and not the maps. Of course, got to give some credit to the map creator. Let me go find this. Who's it going to be? Surprise, it's Avex. So
yeah, I was like, did I just go over this?
Yeah, Calium Plateau. Again, I'm trying to give him proper credit in the VOD so we don't get yelled at again. So Calium Plateau, made by Avex. The nice thing about this is, like, we did have 15 maps chosen. For those who don't know, the judges did like a blind pick, so they didn't know the names of the map makers who made the maps. They were withheld on purpose. So it's kind of funny to still see 3 of Avex's maps get through. I wonder just how many actually got submitted. I saw Monk mention in chat that although we had mentioned Detox, that wasn't even submitted to the contest, which is a little bit sad. Because I don't know whether it would have been picked, but I would have liked to have seen it for certain.
Yeah. Maybe he had a tough time fitting a category or something, I don't know.
This is, by the way, the map earlier with the rocks in the natural.
Yes, and the broken gas.
The broken gas, you can't take the third for whatever strange, unknown reason.
Yeah, so that might not be too bad if it's going to be the third base for Terran.
Well,
for Zerg.
Allegedly, the gas was already fixed because Avex is watching the tournament and felt really bad about the whole situation with Black. I don't know if it's fixed, but if you could just comment, this is something to say where the gas at the natural should be fixed. I don't know. Do we want to tell players or do we just leave them to guess? What do we do with that?
Well, we don't know for sure, do we?
No, I guess not. So we'll leave it to them to experiment to find out.
Oh wow, wow, Snute! I didn't even realize he took that as the natural.
I mean, it's still more efficient than trying to knock down the rocks if you're going to play 3 hatch. So
what's really dangerous about this though is that if uThermal just tears down the rocks. Like, there's going to be a very anti-instant reinforcement, even without bringing on the rocks, actually. Like, he doesn't even have to. That's a choke and a ramp that Snute would have to get through with his units to defend that third base.
Yeah.
That looks quite risky, but, you know, if Snute's going to be the more aggressive one, maybe he's going to go for, like, a mid-game roach push, something like that.
Will these rocks break buildings? I don't actually know. I know they kill units.
Yeah, they do. I'm pretty sure they kill...
Right, because there was that one map, that one really stupid big map, Crawl City or something.
One of the first ones in Heart of the Swarm, yeah, stupid.
So if you actually knock this down, you'll kill 2 depots. That's unfortunate. GGOP in chat is asking if these maps include the balance changes. Yes, the balance changes are live and in effect, so Liberators are affected, Swarm hosts are changed, etc., etc. That went live yesterday.
Yep. More... Wait. Why did he build 1 supply depot? Is he going to try and wall that off?
I think it was for scouting, just to keep an eye on it.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so he is going to wall up the natural then, instead. And Snute is going to be going for an earlier Roach Warren, which pairs up really nicely with uThermal's attempted Hellbat attack. Potentially. You still have to have the units in position.
Yeah, Hellbats can still work versus Roaches, but it's a matter of like them splitting and having Queens up to help them. I think actually more so than Hellbats, just Hellions running by that gold could be really effective.
True.
In fact, I would argue more so that splitting your Hellions into 2 groups and hitting 2 different mineral lines might be better than a Hellbat all-in. But, I mean, that's the direction we're heading. The Armory's placed down, a Liberator's following this up. That's going to be awkward if those rocks get knocked down.
Kind of interesting that uThermal picked up the Hellions, as opposed to just rallied them forward. Looks like he's heading towards that natural where Snute just is not expecting the attack eventually. Okay, no, he figures it out. He sends his lings over there. Because, you know, part of the Hellbat defense is having your units in position in a concave, you know, focus firing those medevacs with the queens. Creep not quite connecting the two bases, by the way.
Yeah, I'm wondering... Oh, we saw the roaches and said no thank you.
Wow.
Hashtag good guy uThermal helping us make up for that long first series today. I am surprised this is going this way. Okay, we didn't get to test the gases, so we'll never know. Next map alphabetically, I think is like what, Dassan Station or something? Dassan? Masan? Banned from no, okay, not going there.
Yeah, you're right, D. Amazing. Okay. Dassan.
I guess we'll just hop into it. The ad break would be silly.
Axon.
Yo, what? What is this?
Huh? What?
Overwatch Snapchat filters.
Oh, the Winston thing?
Yeah. Oh, this is so sick. Okay, Zovia just retweeted this. I'm gonna show this on stream. This is so cool. I've never used Snapchat, but I want to just for this. Oh, that's so sick. Blizzard is doing so many cool things in Overwatch. Why can't you guys give some of that love to StarCraft, man? Come on, Blizzard.
6 years too late.
Now, you know what it is? Okay, no, here's their long con. This is why I think Blizzard are geniuses. They're going to get rich with Overwatch so they can afford to put more money into WCS. Makes sense. Must
Yeah,
be.
yeah. Okay, because they're not going to make a WCS for Overwatch.
Shh.
Okay, buddy.
The boy can dream.
Yeah. I really would have loved to have seen stats for how many people bought loot boxes within the first hour. Like, how much money did they make? Ready?
Yeah, whenever they are. Dassan Station. Let me go look
Thanks,
up the...
Van Mookie, for the 4-month resub.
What? Who? Van
Mookie.
I thought you were saying my friend Van Rookie's name really weird for a second. I was like, what? This is that one with the funny little ramp. This is made by Enoch, guys. Let's put the name here real quick. The rocks on the bottom were adjusted, so you shouldn't be able to do the double bunker wall off that we saw last time. uThermal.
Downside of not choosing your maps.
Yeah, and not studying the VODs from yesterday where there was another TVZ that happened on said maps. But it is a best of 9 as we continue here into the game. He is currently on his second to last life on the left upper side. It's going to be uThermy. Oh no, let's see, not real.
Whoa, what is...
What the front door?
What the flip? Does he calling uThermal CC first? Or something?
Oh my god, I think so. I think he's also trying to take advantage of the short rush distance. This is so stupid.
This is so silly. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Well, it's not a CC first, but still, nonetheless, like, is this dude just...
Because his barracks is so far out of position, if he just mined enough... Okay, he cancels the refinery. If he didn't go over to his barracks, he'd probably be able to get that finished. I mean, he still might get it finished.
Snute?
And then drones could kill the SCV.
Nope.
He just cancels the barracks.
Base trade!
What?
Okay,
What?
so I think honestly, I kind of want to say we should regame this because this doesn't test the map at all. But at the same time, this is Snute showcasing how stupid the rush distance is. So in some way, it does test / showcase the map.
Also, again, if this was not a tournament, like absolutely, but this is a decision to try and win some money, and it might work out. The micro is actually going pretty. Well,
he's actually pulling the drones back. Like there was some sick
Yeah.
kick-ass micro there, and as he runs away, regen's better than repairing. But
yeah, Uthernal only has like 10 minerals to repair.
Snute's been camping the mineral lines with this one on. This is so stupid.
Oh, Emil just came back to a whirlwind.
I mean, the thing is, I'm deadly serious. Like the more Snute runs away, the more he regens, and a lot of these SCVs are really low.
Yeah, even with the micro that he had, he still lost.
He could build a drone. He's at 88 minerals. Like, why wasn't he building a drone this whole time?
That's a good question. He's gonna mine first.
He
What?
wants to micro on the mineral patches.
This is so stupid.
Yup.
He's gonna repair. He's gonna use all of his minerals.
But the command center gets attacked too, and I know this is very stupid. All right. Well, this is going to put uThermal on the board, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get a win here. There's just nothing Snute can do.
Go back home and mine. I don't know. This auto repair is going down in the middle of these fights. I mean,
GG.
credit where it's due. uThermal. This is StarCraft.
Is it? Is it Rushcraft? GG.
Well, you know what? Here's my thoughts. Good guy Snute wanted to pick one of the maps, so. I mean, I think we need to have words with people, so we're gonna go to a break, guys, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we're back, guys. We're gonna be going to game. Actually, was it 2? Is it 3-1 now? Because that was technically a win. Yeah, so 3-1. So we're going to go to game 5. Snute has selected Galactic Process, and
yeah.
Game.
This is again the one that looks a little bit like Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah, I want to be transparent about something too, because Snoot's discussing things in game about this too. There's no like attempt to punish anybody. I'm certainly not mad about watching that drone worker fight. That was funny, but I did mention like, guys, just come on, like this is a map contest. Blizzard's put like 4K up for it. Like, just keep that in mind. There was really nothing here saying like you can't do that. I didn't say you shouldn't do that. We just wanted to kind of politely remind everybody is all.
Totally.
But I guess to defend Snute honor for just a moment, because he does bring up some good points. Like he legitimately thought with the close rush distance and Zombie was gonna be command center first or not. Like there was a legit chance what he did was gonna come, and it wasn't anything close to anything stupid or shady, and he wasn't being a shitty person about it. Snoot's like the last person to do silly things like that. Even in a best of 69 versus Bunny, we saw like one game that was weird, but even then he pulled the drones because he intentionally thought it would work. So I'm just saying we have a history of Snute knowing like he's not just goofing around here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, moving on to the next map, we're getting back to Galactic Process. This is one that looks kind of like Cloud Kingdom. Just kind of, again, giving credit to the map maker here. Galactic Process made by New Sunshine. In the bottom left side of the map, we've got the red Terran uThermi, a.k.a. uThermal.
In the top right as the blue Zerg, it is Liquid Snute.
Okay, so this is a map where I think back in the day, uThermal did play, and you might get some like shudders and like, oh, not again. What's kind of cool though that I didn't realize that he's identified immediately is this is the only way really into the base. There's rocks over here, of course, you can knock down eventually, but walling off at the front wall, this is really much more dangerous than walling off up here, will actually still let you fully wall off both your bases. And in fact, you could argue almost all 3 bases.
Yeah, you're right. It is pretty dangerous. If there's a drone scout, I mean, replacing that SCV would be very, very annoying. If there's an early pull, which is very unlikely, and part of the reason why you can't do this, then you'd also be in big trouble. But none of those things are happening, and he'll be able to not only get the barracks down, but probably finish the wall off by the time Snute really has something to say about it, in which case, come at me, bro. I guess Snute could see this, be like, okay, I don't want to Baneling bust it, but I still want to get something done, and just send 4 or 6 lings to the rocks to break them down, but that would still take a very long time.
And I guess, actually, it's kind of funny. This is one of those games where, like, hypothetically, let's say this goes macro, and let's say this doesn't end early. These are 2 players that could actually, the rare instance, see using the weird hallways.
I can certainly see Snutes with all those ling backstabs he was doing in the last 3 games, for the last one. Interesting position for the second barracks, trying not to hide it, just really showing it. I mean, maybe Snute seeing the front doesn't even bother checking the main for some time, which might just happen here, but if he just, went in for like a second, he would see it. Oh, well. This was the map, by the way, where we saw the 3 racks from BC Cutie. uThermal could have tried to do something as sneaky as that, even if going for like a reactor on that barracks first and getting a lot of Reapers, but he just goes for the standard build. I
actually kind of like that he didn't, even though he's like the first player that's Terran I would say should, just because of the way the series has gone for him. And I feel like, okay, the Hellbat Ellen failed miserably. you kind of got a weird freebie with that very strange game that we just witnessed. I mean, there's so many ways that could the Reaper All-In could fail, and I don't think you want to give that away when you're this close to already being on match point.
Well, the Reaper needs to do a job scouting, of course, but something to scout quite yet. Snute has been doing this very consistent opener, and then he starts to diversify. But, you know, the Overlord speed to get a really fast, nice scout, so uThermal should probably not try anything too, you know, dependent on basically not being scouted, like his Hellbat push, where he just, you know, tapped out immediately after the roaches were shown.
I always find it really funny when people don't know about the best of 69 references, because that's like not even a joke or a meme. We literally cast a best of 69 with Snute versus Bunny, and
it was
it took 18 and a half hours.
Yeah, it was an experience that lasted that long.
It was 18 and a half hours where Snute and Bunny insisted on playing macro games with almost little to no cheese.
Yeah, what was up with them? Okay, like it should all be blamed on them.
Well, I kind of made an offhand comment to Harstem yesterday about his. He had said like, "Oh, I played a 3-hour PvP today, best of 9," and I was like, "You should just learn to cheese." Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that would have helped out everyone.
But yeah,
I thought
that was actually a really sick tournament too, because we raised like $4,000 for prize pool on that one, on top of like, I think we ended up getting like 500 each ourselves or something. Like that was a very tough day, but it was an awesome day.
It was. Day and a half, you know. I don't even remember when we started. Did we start early or did we start late?
We started early because of Europe, and we finished really, really late.
Well, yeah, because either way, it was gonna hurt Europe somehow.
Yeah, I was actually the best part of that, as we kind of go to nostalgia trips here, is I was astonished. Like I had to actually send an inquiry to Twitch and ask about viewbots after we were finished casting, which I was so glad to hear we didn't, because it was like 10,000 people for all 18 and a half hours. Like, that's insane.
People would go to sleep and then come back.
Yeah, people literally would wake up and be like, wait, this is still going on. Anyways, well, we're not quite there yet. Maybe the best of 15 finals, where all 15 maps in this map tournament are going to be played out, will remind us a little bit of that. Because again, the grand finals for this tournament is going to be a best of 15, where you also get additional money for every map you win, so all 15 maps will be played regardless of score. It could actually be 15-0 for somebody.
That is true. All right, so good focus fire with the queens, but unfortunately they can't really deal with the marines. They do need the help of those lings.
Yeah, the lings go down, but this actually was enough to draw it back with the transfuses healing them up. uThermal didn't really want to continue pushing with how low his marines were getting, and that's not a bad choice to fall back off of this. He's going to heal up, but I don't know if he's got a lot of potential to really go back in and do too much more. The medevac's already pretty injured, and once that goes down, there's not really a lot of potential to continue pressuring. But I do like the ideas to go for drops and not like do these weird all-in pushes. Snute's also going to tear down his rocks, which is cool. Open up another pathway for him to run around the map. These rocks are so cool, by the way. These aren't even rocks. This is like they're like pillars. When you knock down the force field, they like lower to the ground. It looks really cool, actually. It's probably my favorite part about this map.
It does. So I'm getting kind of flashbacks here. Snute on something that looks like Cloud Kingdom, doing a build that I believe is going to try and be a fast hive. It's all coming back to me from Wings Liberty, man. But, you know, this is what we saw on the first map of the day, I believe. Now, he took a bit longer than I thought getting that infestation pit, getting to that hive, but I guess he thought uThermal's aggression would be a lot more potent, but it kind of wasn't. Similar things could happen here, where he's taking uThermal's drops and pressure seriously, but still not seriously enough to stop him from going to ultras. Okay, never mind. He takes it like so less seriously that he starts the infestation pit right now. That's a pretty damn fast one. By the way, his upgrades, but with uThermal's drops, it's great that you have 2 drops, sometimes 3 drops if the medevac had lived, and you're just, you know, hitting left and right, but you do not have the fastest upgrades. Their base timing's okay, but the upgrades are not, so they're almost an entire upgrade behind.
Well, we got the fusion core coming up and another starport, so we're actually going to see this go to the skies. Quite a few liberators going to be made, and I guess, you know, with 3 bases being secured, he's going to have the gas for it, where you normally wouldn't at this timing.
Well, especially because he never bothered with tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yes, of course, he skips the tanks to get the extra gas, but what's kind of cool is, I guess, I didn't really fully realize just how awesome this one wall off would be for uThermal. Like, this gave him, like, Dusk Towers levels, or not even Dusk Towers. What was that really old one? The really big one that looked like Dust Towers. Where you could get three bases. No, not Ultrazeum. It was, it's more recent than that. It had
Deadwing.
Deadwing. It was like Deadwing levels of security with like 3 bases.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, he really didn't have to worry about anything, just pressuring himself. But Snute, I think he's like kind of on to uThermal's play style in general, and also just this is exactly what happened in that first game. So he's on top of things. He's not taking as much damage, and he really didn't take that much damage in the first game either. So it's not looking so hot for uThermal. Snute is at a very good army supply. Even if uThermal tried to push, like a main push, it would not work out. So he's just kind of accepted his life. He's gonna have to deal with ultras, and he just has to hope that he has more liberators than Snute expects when maybe Snute makes mistakes and pushes in.
This is me now. There's not really a lot of abusable positions for liberators. It's worth noting there's plenty of space behind these mineral patches. So there's spots where the liberators can certainly get in, but there's also ways you can deal with them, whether it's a spore crawler or otherwise. Not reacting initially, though, Snute was looking to the south where drop was kind of distracting him, so he loses a couple of drones. Nothing too dramatic. Let's move that liberator over here to the main, I guess.
Oh, that's annoying. Snute didn't have one already prepared. There's so much space behind the minerals, though. This really isn't that much of a worry as long as the queen just, doesn't get sniped. uThermal is still trying to pressure, by the way. He's not given up entirely, although he is getting a 4th base, and, he's got to wait for liberator count and upgrades.
Oh, nice fumble.
Not a reason to stop trying to harass Snute.
So going fully air like this, I mean, we even have air upgrades coming out. This is not quite the Sky Terran that we're used to seeing, but it's interesting to see this approach at it. The Ravagers are eventually going to start falling off, but in small numbers, they do overpower Liberators quite easily.
Well, if Liberators are really going to be a big issue, Snute has had the time and the bank to certainly get to both Ultras and Aspire. In fact, I'm actually a little surprised he's not at more drones. How many has he lost? 13. Yeah, because he was going up to like almost 80 in that first game. So that's something that's a little bit surprising. But he still has the same like bank and safe situation that he had in that first game that can lend him to getting all of the upgrades. Okay, so upgrades first, 3/3 Adrenal Glands, Ultraless Cavern, but eventually Aspire if Liberators are really going to be that much of a problem that Ravagers can't take care of them.
Well, this map kind of turning into the macro side of things.
A little bit, you think?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
With uThermal's 3 bases, the question kind of went, was he going to go for that 4th? And he actually does. It's becoming planetary as we speak. Snute, I think we knew was going to take 3 and 5 and 7 bases given the opportunity. So much of this was hinged on uThermal, and especially with the dedication to these Liberators, this air army. Weapon upgrades finish up shortly. Not that that's hugely going to influence things. Liberators will just hit like a truck no matter what. Those are more for like when Ultras are in play.
A bit of a big drop going to the north here. 3 medevacs is nothing to laugh at, but unfortunately they have to unload and clear up creep. They don't really get a surprise kill on any bases.
Nice positioning on top of this, though. Gets a lot of lings and doesn't lose too much for it. It's going to be Ravagers to deal with, and that'll be a problem. But up here in the top left, he's attacking at the same time, and this is where Snute starts finding himself a little bit out of position. He does concave on top of this, though, and the medevacs can get out of there with 2 fully loads heading towards the main.
Snute, for the most part, is very aware that it's going to be 2 attacks at the same time almost always. Here he makes a mistake by, I guess, collecting all of his army. So that right side could maybe do some more damage to that hatchery, but he cleans up this, still okay. He's on his way to Ultras, he has been for a while, and he still has quite a big bank. Even if he lost a hatchery, it would be replaced and probably even, double expanded, so not a super big deal. What else was going to bring up? Oh, as they start expanding outwards and this way and that, uThermal takes the base that heavily reminds me of Cloud Kingdom, actually. That odd 4th to the top as opposed to the bottom. He could break down his own rocks and expand, like, Snute kind of is, but he's not. We're going to see more and more use of those little tasteless secret hallways or whatever. Of course, uThermal's been using it to just drop and get back to high ground, but we'll see him for Snute too if uThermal takes any of the corner bases with the planetary. Oh, that's so many.
But they're stacked up. They're stacked up.
Yeah, that wasn't too great. But it's still, there's still a lot of them. So I think this is a very scary army. Almost no medevacs because of it, though. Every stim really hurts.
Yeah, if he was getting better damage for the stims, you could argue otherwise. That also falls over. There's no Chitinous Plating just yet, so one of them goes down. As the Ravagers start disappearing, the Liberators become even more effective, but...
Oh, I thought that was going to be a fungal.
It should have been. It should have been, but he tears through the Ravagers, and Snute suddenly finds himself in a bit of an odd spot. The Liberators are in such a good spot, they can pick off the Ultralist now. It's not a problem despite his Chitinous Plating. Medevacs are finally arriving on those front lines, and I guess it took a while, and it costed a lot, but he broke the Ravagers. And with the Ravagers going down, there is no reliable anti-air for Snute.
No, there really isn't. I mean, the Liberator count really has gone down, so just the leftover Ravagers positioned correctly,
Oh,
like the
God.
Queens will probably get underneath them, but... Oh, where are they, though?
No, they all died is what I was saying. 11 died.
Oh, okay, 11 died, yeah. Oh, but he takes a fight where the Ultras are strapped behind the Queens. All the Queens with their transfuses go down first. That wasn't too good.
This is such a crazy army because normally the emphasis goes on, focus fire and kiting the Ultralisks around. Right now it's about taking out any form of anti-air, any semblance of those Ravagers. That's what he's trying to remove from the fight. The Liberators will kill the Ultras without a doubt in his mind. It's all about the Ravagers not killing the Liberators. Look at that, the Ultras just falling apart to these Liberator shots.
If only he had ever gotten a Spire, like a handful of Corruptors would really help him out here. They take down the last two Liberators.
I would argue that's questionable, though. There's so much bio on the ground, like...
They've been advancing forward so quickly. You have to control them correctly, of course, but they haven't been covering all of the Liberators, and they've all been so heavily stimmed. They're almost going to go down to one single swipe.
Ultra starting to dance through, and you're right, they are so heavily stimmed. Picking up the Medivacs may be the best option at this point. Setting up some more Liberation Zones to try and kite these through. The Liberators on the front lines go down. Snute may have taken some damage, and they traded out a lot for the army. And even the resources lost doesn't look too shabby. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot harder for uThermal to replace his army than Snute. Not because of bases or income, but just because of the type of army he has.
Yeah, those Liberators only coming in from 2 starports. It's true, like, he's never going to have that same surprise Liberators, hopefully. As, the other problem, besides not having Corruptors, which may or may not have helped, was letting uThermal, like, push as aggressively as he did. Like, if Snute's the one on top of the ramp, then suddenly it's a slow siege instead of the rush that we saw that quickly tumbled forward.
Well, trying to take the best engagement possible, dancing around. A couple of these Ultralisks, or I guess one of them only is really low. Planetary is going to be a really nice addition to have into the fight, but it kills an Ultra. Can it deal with all the Ravagers? SCV is getting killed by Corrosive Biles, trying his best to repair it and keep it alive. Even the Command Center is going to expand boldly, I would say, but the Fortress goes down. Meanwhile, he's not coming back home to fight. He's looking to kill on the other side of the map. Liberators advancing forward. Ultralisk takes about 1,000 shots to die.
Snute used all of that bank he once had, by the way, in that fight, so expanding is no longer easy peasy. That was kind of a big deal to give up that base.
This is uThermal's main, by the way, floating over to replace the one he just lost.
Okay, so his economy's not so great either. A couple of Lings go to an orbital, regular old orbital, and probably deny mining. He's gonna be very careful not to get surrounded by Lings, let the Ultras chomp away. He has a decent number of Liberators that, even if that happened, it'd be a questionable fight for Snute, but I gotta be careful.
Oh, Lings? What?
These are pretty...
He's like, touch the depot.
Okay, bye.
I did it. I win. I touched the depot. That was my goal this game.
Yeah. Snute does expand to the top, which I really thought he was going to do a lot sooner, to be honest. But now that's where uThermal is pushing once more, so it's questionable. I really don't... The Liberator count has gotten up to a very scary point again, 9. Ravagers are going to have a tough time taking them out, especially if uThermal leapfrogs. I think they might just be what wins him this battle, especially if he has to go up a ramp into him. Oh, dear God.
That is a ridiculous Liberation Zones coming down, but I worry about the bio once again. I mean, still not even recovered from a couple of stims.
It is always worrying. Like, once... Eventually you have to kite back through the Liberators. As many Liberators as there are, the Ultras, 1 or 2 Ultras should get through. And if you're stimming constantly, it's only going to take 1 or 2 swipes to kill them. But
yeah, not to mention fungal growths haven't really been utilized yet either. The second Snute lands like one really sick fungal, that army takes so much damage. And I'm not even talking Liberators, this is straight up the Marines being in trouble.
Yeah, all these chokes and ramps, too. It's making it very difficult for Snute without his own air.
I am surprised, though, to see that it's not air. Again, when we talk about the Liberators having recently been nerfed for specifically against Corruptors.
Yeah. I mean, now it makes sense because Snute can't really afford it, but...
Yeah, but earlier...
I think... Oh, that's really nice.
Oh, this is why you don't need Corruptors, if you can get moments like that.
Well, okay.
I think you still want them, but...
and he's realizing it's the importance of infestors. All right, so the orbitals, that's the natural orbiter going there. That is asking to be killed. I don't even know why he's trying. It's better to try and take like a hidden base than that one, but maybe it just won't be noticed.
It was Cloud Kingdom, right, where people would take those extreme corner bases and they'd go unseen for some time. I kind of forgot about that.
It was so dumb too, because it was a small map. This is bigger than Cloud Kingdom, another difference, but it was so small you'd think that the corners would be eventually scouted. Sometimes they weren't.
I love that the layout of this map, though, really does let this play this direction. Like on some of the maps, there really has been kind of janky bases, and you're questioning thirds and fourths. But having followed a kind of tried and tested formula of I will say copying, but that's not the right word, I feel, but like taking inspiration, copying from like Cloud Kingdom and making something new from it. I like this. I actually, in even with the Reaper game that we saw, I have liked iterations of Galactic process.
Thank you to Lib75 for the 4-month resub.
Perfectly appropriate for the Liberators.
Hey.
Might be 75 of them depending on how long this game goes.
That would break the supply.
Well, I didn't mean all live all at the same time.
Ah, okay, there you go.
It's like the infinite universes thing. Billions.
Well, Snute, I really thought was going to lose this game. Like, straight up. He didn't have much mining. The Liberators really seemed to be the trump card for uThermal, but he has gotten at least 2 bases back up. It's funny, they're expanding identical to each other, where I really thought these forward bases, okay, this one not so much, but the other forward base would have just been an easy snipe for both of them. This base is almost even worth just giving up.
Oh, yeah, I would say just kill the Overlords.
Move!
Snute can't afford to replace those. The eggs are going to die faster than the Ultras would. Kind of funny to consider. So these are going to go down, and 2 Ultras will be lost through this. This is, again, an orbital, not a planetary, so this base, as you said, is asking to be killed, and it will get lifted. SCVs are going to die, and uThermal's going to start turning around for this. Snute's army is a little bit smaller than uThermal's, but uThermal's is not about... necessarily size.
Oh,
it's a lot to do with
God.
type. And fungal growth grab all the metamags.
Oh, we've got so many of the Liberators as well. Last desperate
no.
siege up.
Oh,
He's
no.
still going into
GG.
a lot of... Oh, no, he's just going to GG? Oh, my good God.
I don't blame him. Those fungal growths were devastating.
Jesus.
All right, well, that puts uThermal now on match point, and if Snute wins one more game, he will advance on to the round of 8. Gonna go to a break, though, guys. As we get this sorted, we'll get the maps picked, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. All right, we're back. Just waiting for everyone to get ready to go. Frozen Zone is going to be the map selected. And where is the... Oh, this is the sneeze of a name for a map.
It's also selected by alphabet.
That's right, because uThermal was still going alphabetically for his map choices. So, Frozen Zone by... It is match point, though. If you guys are just tuning in, this is a best of 9. He is winning 4-1 in the rightmost side of Frozen Zone. Team Liquid's Red Zerg Snute.
In the middle left, as the blue Terran, he's uThermal.
Hype goes to the almost 4K people tuning in for this, by the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the contest. Of course, I'm sure Blizzard appreciates any and all feedback. If you guys don't already know, these maps are available to the public. I know Team Liquid wouldn't mind extra feedback too. If you want to test these games, if you want to try and break these maps to the best of your capabilities, take screenshots if you do it, submit replays to the Team Liquid thread so everybody can see everything that's going on.
Thank you to Ian Chan 2003 for the 18-month resub. Tail end of that delay, as everyone was freaking out. Not like this. Not like this.
I am really hoping, by the way, that, again, it's not looking great for uThermal. It's looking pretty grim, and with this map in particular being a really large, ideally macro map, everything here says Snute. Everything here spells Snute's favor. That last game looked pretty good for uThermal for a time, and I really liked, once again, like the multitasking is always really awesome to see, and uThermal's tactics are never bad, but Snute is just such a good player.
He is. I really enjoy that this is going kind of the flip of the last TDZ, by the way. I don't really take shots at Lambo or uThermal, like saying that they played their races wrong respectfully, like with their maps they're chosen, because the maps were fairly similar, I suppose. I can't remember what they chose, but
you're right. It is actually kind of straight up awesome to see it go a completely different direction. Like, because when we saw this, if we had just seen that one TVZ, everything looks broken for Terran.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see this, and it looks like I wouldn't say it's broken for Snute, because Snute's not used anything abusive. Like, there's been no Ravager spot that was just so stupid. There's been no, Mutalisk dancing around base to base because they're too far apart or something. But he's been looking really good.
I got a rather large donation I need to shout out and thank you. $50 coming from Curco54. Says, use it however you like. Greetings, Chironauts. Thank you very much. Sorry I missed that about 20 minutes ago. That'll go straight towards trying to get my wisdom teeth fixed up. So thank you so much. $50 is a lot, man.
Huh. I received money from Amazon because collector's edition lowered in price since I bought it.
Oh, so
I
you
didn't know
got
that was a thing.
a small refund. That's awesome. Amazon
I got 40
hype.
bucks.
Amazon hype. Also, new sub hype. Thank you very much to Kirsten Darkin. I hope I said that. That doesn't look like it should be said differently, but I'm hoping I said that right. And it's that's awesome because we were, of course, we've been floating around this like 1,000 number for subscribers. We lost a lot from like the almost full month we took off from StarCraft, going to DreamHack and Austin. I guess not from StarCraft, but from casting. And we're trying to definitely earn that number back over time. So 1,003 subs once again.
Woohoo!
But of course, we're gonna be casting pretty much every single day this month. Oh shoot, we have to sit down. I meant to do this 2 nights ago. We have to talk about new schedule for the Ting qualifiers, by the way, because we're moving all those a date back apparently. I just got scores wrong on the overlay. Thank you guys for letting me know. I had flipped the names and forgotten to fix the scores, but it is definitely still 4-1 for Snute. Now, anyways, I kind of forgot, because Frozen Zone may be new for some of you guys, to give you a quick little peek as we do kind of pan around. Natural base taken here, third base actually being taken here from Snute, which is interesting. It's obviously much more easy to take this base, but knocking the rocks down, this reminds me a little bit of Ohana in some small ways.
Oh yeah, that the third is much more viable, but you have to break them the rocks first, which makes it a little less for specifically Zerg, because they don't really want to make early game units. But this is what we saw in the PvP, I believe. That is, we saw this map on last. They both took these thirds and broke down the rocks to do so. The other one is just not bad. It's a very big map, so it's kind of like, take whatever third you want. They're both going to have some time to get over there and defend it, but this one's still even farther away. Makes a lot more sense for Zerg, as far away as possible. Creep spread looks like it's going to be a bitch on this map. For one small moment, I thought you were searching for another word, but you just no, you went for it. No, just going to go for it.
Now, creep spread could definitely be problematic, but also incredibly beneficial. Again, this is a pretty freaking large map with lots of attack paths and different ways to get through the map, and only 2 watchtowers for all of that. So, Overlord spread, creep spread, going to be very, very important, especially when you're playing against somebody like uThermal, who has been, throughout this series, very drop-heavy.
Yes, he's had a very consistent opener. Same as Snute, though. Snute with the Overlord speed and whatnot. But finally changing it up for uThermal. He's getting Banshee and the third command center a lot quicker as well. He is going to take the more forward position. Oh, it's not odd to say because it's such a large map, but it does push him a little bit forward to attack Snute. And I think that makes sense for the Terran. He's usually looking for that situation. Hellions actually just try and run by straight up. They're going to get a bit of a scout as well, see the Roachworn, and that it looks pretty similar to the last couple of games from Snute.
This run by, though, getting some nice damage done. 13, 14 drones go down, and it's not even finished yet.
Oh, the Queens got pulled back for whatever reason instead of the drones, so more drones went down. Really didn't have to.
Because there was a Banshee, that's why. So that's why it gets even worse. 21 workers down. Snute's still not in a terrible spot yet, but this was the best damage uThermal's done in all games so far leading up to this point.
Yeah. Game he won, not included, because there wasn't even 23 drones to kill.
You're right. You actually literally could not if that was the case.
Yeah. The Ling run by might help. I mean, the Hellions, the Banshees, it was most of uThermal's army, and now that they're dead, it's going to be a little tricky for the Marines to take this on. So uThermal doesn't lose any SCVs. Luckily, that was right before the transfer happened, but he has to live for at least a second. That's a little bit of payback. Tiny, a little bit.
Okay, so I think a big part of this too may have been there's also multiple attack paths. We discussed that already, but Snute just not seeing that coming was a bit surprising to me. Really, if he had known that was coming from further away, we would have for sure had 2 queens on the ramp. I don't think that would have gotten so crazy. I don't think it would have gotten so much damage, but really well deserved for uThermal, who really needs it, because I mean, he's got such a big comeback to make if he still wants to win this, and I hope he still wants to win this. I know that he's one of these players who, as good as he is, he also does get a little bit down on his losses.
Yeah. The 4th base being taken by Snute in that location, I guess, it makes the most sense, especially because he saw the way that uThermal was expanding. If uThermal expanded to the top, maybe Snute continues expanding to the bottom, but, if he took this base as the Banshees are right here, it would just be such an easy reinforcement point for uThermal. But Anyways, it's another drop. It's not a push, which I feel like in one way it works great for uThermal. You can really highlight his multitasking, and sometimes it really does work, especially against other Zergs that aren't as well prepared. But, you know, on the other hand, it's that it's not a direct push. It rarely clears up creep. Usually has to have to send another, like, task force out to clear creep, and it usually doesn't really kill Snute, you know? Like, it does a little bit of damage here and there, forces out units here and there, but it doesn't really kill him. Snute's been pretty prepared most of the time.
Well, picking up to just not continue investing into this drop for now. Ravagers on the way. Not going to necessarily deal with the medevacs, but I like that pathogen glands. Snute really did well with fungals and corrosive biles last game. I'm not surprised to see him go for it again.
Oh, this is the biggest drop he's ever done so far. This could be game ending if it's not seen. He's going to fly past an Overlord, it looks like, which will give Snute maybe a little bit of advance notice is the world. Because even if you have a couple of units, but they're there on the ground, it can stop them from unloading.
Right, if Snute's got 2 fungals on the low ground, 2 fungals ready to go on the high ground, and he can just catch these medevacs in either position, that could end the game. I mean, we saw how quickly uThermal tapped out before and how much it could happen again. This is so many drops.
Oh, these Overlords.
I almost think it'd be worth just killing the 4 Overlords. I don't know. He's going to boost on in. Snute's looking for this. His Ravager in position. He scouts to see that this will be the case with that scan. He's just going to unload everything out here instead, which is probably a smarter choice.
Yeah. I really think he could take on a direct engagement now, too. Because of the earlier drone losses, Snute at this point, in the other games he's done this build, was already at like a 20 army supply lead. So uThermal couldn't even really do anything if he wanted. He was also in an upgrade deficit.
Yeah, a lot of his supply right now it's coming. There's 20 roaches in production. That's not 20 roaches ready to fight.
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be game over, but killing the 4th base certainly is very, very nice. Snute, though, I mean, he still has a chance here. He's got Infestors. They can certainly bring it back. He obviously has to sneak in the Hive now, and he could get on his way to Ultras, which would certainly help bring it back. I didn't realize uThermal was still not on combat shields. I was looking at his upgrades more so, because that was usually where he was falling behind, but his combat shields wasn't done. So a direct engagement probably was not a good idea.
Well, picking up to disengage. uThermal going to fly away with both sets of drops. You're right. Killing the 4th was good. There's no questioning that. But it didn't really... It hasn't really stalled Snute out. Like, he still has army around the map. He's actually roaming and looking and hunting. Instead of being scared and trying to barely drone, he's moving a Hive.
uThermal's main push down the middle is finally this push we want to see as like Terrans, right? It's a push that will probably kill the Zerg player before we can get to Ultras. You know, sometimes this happens too late, sometimes it just gets overwhelmed because they actually weren't going that quickly into Ultras, but this looks pretty perfect. Unless the Fungals can really add a lot here, this army of uThermal should be able to take on Snutes.
That's a good fungal to start, though. Corsair Gear's going to land. Not too well, though.
Yeah, missed entirely, really.
I mean, it's hard to get in there for positioning when there's Liberators and Marines looking to zone you on. That's the point of this, too. Segment these units off, trying to bait out some of these hits, dodges them very nicely. Liberator set up in a great spot for this. Fungal growth not quite hitting home, but the Infestor's getting focus fire by those frontline Marauders.
I mean, the fungal corrosive bile combo is really buying a lot of time, but eventually the Infestors will run out of energy, or uThermal will just, like, yeah, move and get something else done here. Yeah. 4 bases, even if he lost his 5th, would still be okay for Snute, but not ideal, obviously. His Hive did finish up. He's just missing the gas to get to Hive.
Liberator's trying to cut off the Ravagers. Going to cut off the reinforcement line, but that was going to soak some hits. We'll see how bad this gets. 3, 4 Liberators go down, but so do a lot of Ravagers. Marines and Marauders starting to stim forward. uThermal's army supply is not looking too bad, but I don't know if he can overcome this. Liberators are still just shelling away at the back line, but so many of these Ravagers are close to dead, but not quite dead.
That was so awkward all over the place. The Queens being caught out of position, the Ravagers being caught out of position. That was a lot of Queens, too, that had a ton of chance to use this. They could have taken a lot of those Liberators with them a lot quicker. Fortunately, they did mostly die. As you said, some of these Ravagers so low. This could have been such a bigger deficit for uThermal. I guess the reverse of the deficit, basically, because he's the one that does it now.
It's still an army he can fight with, and his economy's not bad. He's sitting on 4 bases pretty much at this point, as he moves up to take another base, but... man, like if all those Ravagers that were low did die, it'd probably be like just an even army supply, or even worse. We did get a new sub, by the way. Thank you, Ripple Carrier, for hitting us up with some love during that fight, so we can shout you out. There's a lot going on, but new sub hype. I think that's gonna be 1004, if I'm not mistaken.
Since we lost one in the last 10 minutes. Womp womp. All right, so I really thought uThermal was going to have either a game-ending push or borderline game-ending, you know, where he maybe has to retreat, but he certainly killed enough bases, enough drones, enough army to warrant it. Unfortunately, this game is going to go, it looks to be like, into Ultras. Now, Snute still hasn't gotten the Ultras cavern, which is a little bit surprising considering the breadth he's allowed to take here, but I think that's going to be coming down eventually. The uThermal, I mean, despite losing that fight, though, it's not like he's dead because of it, because he didn't win right there. He's got 4 bases. He's getting a 5th in the middle of the map. That's weird.
I mean, his gold base, mine out fast, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like that this high ground. Whoa, what's going on here? There's a Marina Marauder inside the Infestor. How did those get there?
That's definitely a bug.
This is 100% a bug. This shouldn't. Maybe he unloaded them while medevacs were running away or something. They're definitely stuck.
Interesting.
Yo, what if they also can't be hit though? I mean, this gives you thermal vision. Funny enough, I mean it's high ground vision. You can see
the
Marauders.
safest high ground vision ever. Go close to it. Shoot, science first. Oh damn it.
Players are so bad at sciencing. They're so busy trying to win.
I know, right?
God, champions.
Oh my god, I was like, why is he still in there? So many liberation zones.
Oh, he's going close. He's science.
Oh, look at it. Look at it.
It looks so stupid. Okay, well, another discernible bug that we have found in some of the maps. Obviously, not fully polished.
Yeah.
Look at that attack dislocation. That bunker was a nice distraction, but it's not going to stop the attack. He's going to try and cut this off by the looks of it with some units, but I don't think this is enough units. I actually like the attack in the north way better.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still no medevacs. Looks a little odd, but certainly enough damage to kill that 4th base. I am so surprised that Snute is being aggressive in general, but also that he's not teching behind the aggression. If you're going to be aggressive, do something with it, you know? But, oh my god, mass transfuses. But still, no Ultralisk Cavern, not even like a Spire for those Liberators that are giving him trouble. It is just Roach, Ravager, and Fester that he's trying to win with.
That base should have died. Like 100% should have died.
Yeah, well, you should have been rich, but that didn't happen either, did it?
Wow.
You're supposed to be the StarCraft 2 esports gravy train.
It's like story of my life, man. Like should have been rich, wasn't. Things suck.
Anyway,
he still has. There's no medevacs. He can't heal his army, but he can't save those 2 units either.
I wonder if Kodak can even pick him up. Like, what if he just walked in a very particular location, and that's what
I was wondering. Yeah, like why would you unload there without intending to? It does feel like something passed strangely, or they somehow snuck up there. It'd be really cool if this was like that campaign mission in Legacy where you like had to garrison the buildings and like you could legit do that, but then also take them out if you wanted to.
Yeah. I know uThermal just made a couple of medevacs. Oh, here they come now. I was gonna say.
That would be such a cool aspect to add to a map where like any race could put a ranged unit into like a building type thing. It would be garrisoned only for like a little bit of extra health, kind of like 500 or something.
Interesting.
Like a
neutral.
Yeah, but it'd be like a neutral bunker type deal. Like obviously not an actual bunker, but like a building like the campaign.
I just Snute making Roach, Ravager, and Fester work not only with aggressive Terrans, but a defensive Terran as well is just shocking.
I love that he focuses the queens first. He's like, no more transfuses, not again. He's gonna lose this drop. He's gonna lose these units. This really stinks because these were some of his very rare medevacs.
Yeah, very rare. He does rebuild them pretty quickly though. So I think he's now just keeping notes, like keeping tabs. Okay, how many medevacs do I have? How many livers do I have? So that's looking still pretty good. And even though like Stu is winning all of these engagements, it's not like uThermal is running out of money. He's still, on 5 bases. The engagement on the left side goes so well for uThermal. No infestors to help cover those Ravagers. Where were they? I guess they're still like the 3rd or just trailing a little bit behind. That sucks because really Snute's been doing so well because his army hasn't been dying. His corrosive biles have been hitting so well that he hasn't really had to replace it. But having to replace anything is kind of a tough task for Snute, who is only just now getting his mining up again.
It's interesting because, like, first off, he's getting away. uThermal's getting away with this gold base. I didn't think that this would actually be happening, but he's finally getting these drops to do damage. Snute's been taking better head-on engagements, like main army versus main army, without a doubt.
I haven't noticed, another reason that Snute is doing so well in these engagements, I guess, is that uThermal hasn't been upgrading. Neither of them have been upgrading, really.
No, it's been so brute forcey. It's like 2-1 versus 2-1, but in different fashions. But you don't need upgrades with Ravagers, really. I mean, Corrosive Biles were the core of their damages, so Snute can get away with a lack of upgrades. uThermal really probably should have been focusing on that a little more. Now the base going to get sniped, though.
18 minutes, consistent mining, even though there's been inconsistent trades. I really would have thought 3-3 was like already on the way, so that's definitely something missing. But uThermal's doing a great job denying the bases. He's now denied 2 very important bases. The bottom left is probably going to be denied as well, as uThermal realizes the army's going to go defend that. This might just be the 1-2 combo that kills Snute.
I mean, it was just seconds ago I was thinking in my head, like, wow, Snute's got this. It's going to be like a 5-1, easy peasy, but now it's not looking like that's going to be the case anymore. I do like seeing more Infestors being invested into, because once again, like, I don't know if Snute's picked up on it or not, but there's really no Medivacs, and there hasn't been for so long.
I love this choice to also expand to the gold base. Whenever he's taking on head-on engagements, he's doing fine, so might as well defend and attack from a expansion base, especially a gold expansion.
2 things at the same time?
What?
Is there a saying for that? Two
No,
stones with 1 bird? Something like that?
You throw a bird at 2 stones.
A stone in the hand is worth 3 birds in the bush, I believe? Is that how the saying goes?
Oh dear God.
Alright,
well,
this is gonna be rough. Liberators are not that numerous, but they are getting really good shots into a concave of bio. This gets really messy for Snute. Fungal growth landing though, and this army not being healed up, already hurting itself so badly with Stim. Both players losing all their units.
Yeah, but uThermal's still looking a little bit stronger. He's the one that's been mining this entire time.
Yep.
Snute only just got that 4th base back up. His gold base is still not in effect. A couple of Ling run-bys probably could have saved Snute so many headaches on this income war.
So, I was going to say, speaking of that, income advantage, I didn't realize uThermal had been winning it for so long. I thought he'd just been winning it for a little bit. He's been winning for so long.
I thought that 4th base was up, so it's even worse than it looks like for Snute.
Well, it takes us in Liberators in the middle of the map. Maybe the Infestors with their energy can be those free trades to make up for that money loss, that money difference. I don't know, but uThermal's once again trying to do some run-bys around the sides of the map. This Medivac heading towards the main. Gotta be careful. There's Spore Crawlers after all.
Yeah, a single Roach, which he even remembers he has. Wow. uThermal's really expanding all over the place, too. Top right, bottom left. Ling's in desperate need here for Snute, just to run around. Like, seriously, 7 Lings could give uThermal such a tough time. He's not getting any planetaries.
It's not, well, okay, yes, that, I didn't even realize that. That's a great point. But also the fact that Snute's just, this is such a big map. He doesn't have the mobility to do things. This Liberator set up in a spot where, like, the Marauder and Marine are still there. It's hilarious, but why? Like,
The upgrade, something uThermal finally remembered too, so that's really going to start affecting these fights. Once he gets 3-3, or even just 3-2, it's going to look probably a lot different. And maybe if you got, Medivacs, that would help too.
Well, I'm actually a little bit curious. Like, Snute's style to play here is not bad. We saw this beat players like Beyond and others, but being the macro god that he is, and understandably now he has no money, I'm curious why he didn't try to go for ultras or that direction this game. And you mentioned upgrades, like, those have fallen off entirely for both players and still aren't. I mean, +3 is finally coming out for uThermal, but there's just so much missing from this game.
There was certainly a point where he was on consistent mining with a bit of a bank that I think he could have tried, but...
Oh, you know what? Those Fungals are gone. He sniped off the only Infestors that had any energy left. He starts pushing into a concave of Ravagers, though. Corrosive Biles are starting to land, but Snute's army supply is dwindling. uThermal's maybe actually going to do this after looking like he was going to lose for 18 minutes. He brings it back. GG!
Damn.
And he did that impressively with 2 units in his army, never being in the game whatsoever. How did they get... I want to go back through the replay and just see, like, how they got up there in the first place. That's the biggest question. Like, what happened to that Marine and the Marauder?
They fell in love, but it was forbidden. So they had to find a secret place to make sweet, sweet love. Unfortunately, it was right next to an Infestor that was being tested on. So that was awkward.
Yes, it was. We're gonna have Palladino Terminal coming up next for Snute. We'll talk more about the map in a moment. Small break before we do. Thank you guys for watching. Alright folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. This still, like, I really want to stress, like, Snute's still in a very good spot in the overall series. Like, he's still commanding the lead. Now it's 4-2 instead of 4-1 in this best of 9. So still pretty good chance for him to win. But we do get into Palladino Terminal. We'll get the map intro for the maker and stuff set up in a moment. But in the top left side, it is going to be Team Liquid's blue, Snute.
In the bottom right, as the Red Terran, he's uThermal.
Euthermy. This is a map where we talked about before, by the way, really short rush distance. Like,
yeah.
super expecting there to be lots of cheese if this map were to make it to ladder. But in one small respect, though, I look at this and I'm kind of like, what if this was like Arena and you just could put one depot here and you wouldn't have to worry about most of that? Because you have to go all the way around to the top and the bottom sides to like get around it otherwise.
It would kind of remind me of, remember that terrible map, Springs, Hidden Secret Spring. Haha. Do you remember that?
I know the map. That's the one you were casting on the floor for. I don't think it was called Hidden Spring, was it?
Secret Spring.
Secret Spring, maybe something like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, go on.
Anyway, they kind of it would remind me of that, where you technically could like block the middle, and then you'd have an entire like.
Oh yeah. You wall off like one depot, one barracks. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have an entire side of the map to yourself. I hated that map. That was actually, I think, the least loved map pool for me. That was the experimental one, and it was like in between. And
yeah, I was not a fan of it either. I'm feeling on that. But yeah, now Rufus, as we just showed on stream, was the name of the person who had created this map. Now, uThermal, not really doing anything too crazy. It's a pretty standard opener.
Yeah. Well, in TVZ, I'm not sure what could be abused for the short rush distance. I guess you could proxy a little bit quicker, and there's quite a few ledges for Reapers to hop up on. That might have been something he could do, but I guess it's not in his books for now. But for Zerg, like, there's not much you can do either against Terran. You just assume they're going to wall off, and the Reaper's going to catch you, and you'll be out of luck no matter what. It's not too surprising to see lack of like super early game attacks, but a mid game rush from Snute, because I think he was going to try and do that on the map with the Hellbat attack that went very poorly for uThermal, and just coincidentally ended the game for him. But I think you could bring that out again on a shorter map like this. There's also 2 entrances into your natural, which adds to the whole idea of rushing and being aggressive will probably be favorable on this map.
Ace Lude. But also an inch and a half away from each other. Ho, Ace Lude. No? Okay. Oh, it's a Marine statue. What's up? I salute you.
It just kind of looks like he's patting his head, though.
Less than a salute, it looks more like the sun is in his eyes.
Yeah, it's like a visor.
And it's like, I can't see what's... I'm supposed to be posing for a statue? Crap. This is kind of cute. If the Overlord wasn't here, Snute wouldn't actually see the Reaper hidden within the smoke, but with the Overlord revealed, yeah, he can't sit still.
uThermal is going for a starport back at home. That last game really went well because he did so much early game damage. The Hellions, the Banshees that came in after, it really set him up well. And the fact that Snute survived for 20 minutes after that doesn't bode well for when he can't do the early game damage.
I forgot he started that game with like 24 worker kills. Yeah, that's one of the things for Snute, though, Overlord speed completes, he gets scouting. This is kind of a big deal, as he doesn't quite see the starport on the top of the ramp, which is most notably being paired up with Cloak. That's going to tell you there's no Liberators, but more importantly tell you the necessity of a Spore Crawler, because detection is going to be a huge issue. So Overlord still hasn't seen it yet. He's seen 2 barracks, but that's not 2 barracks. It was the barracks that was moved over. So Snute may be having a bad case of misinformation.
This shouldn't be as bad. The Banshees aren't here to take back the Queens. Oh, well, I thought those drones were going to block out the Hellions, so actually it goes a little bit more poorly than I thought it would. So only 6 drones is not super terrible. Quick talk about where Snute took his 3rd base, by the way. Throwing it out there, that's not what I would have expected. I guess, like, distance-wise, base to base, it's probably not that different, but of course, if you take the base to the bottom side of Snute's natural, there's only one entrance into it, so you can try and just focus your aggression there. But...
Well, the problem is it's only one entrance into it, but it's also only one way out. So like you can't exactly pull drones away from this easily. Like if you're getting attacked simultaneously. Same with SCVs. So it's a deceptively safe base. It's got a lot of strong points, but also like one really big con.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where the path of action even really occurs. Like, will uThermal go to the north once he realizes where the 3rd is? Or will you try and tack down to the south and then into the natural to get into those chokes? So Of course, any push you would have would be delayed because of his opener. His opener was very harassment-oriented, getting the Banshee and the Cloak and then the Hellions out. So nothing to be scared of for Snute in terms of, those... It's not going to be those instant 16 Marine drops. It's not going to be an instant, tank push, which we've seen a surprisingly low amount of, considering how many we saw from BC Cutie. uThermal's not about those tanks.
Well, opening the rocks will give him more ways to path through the map, but you do have to take out both rocks, just one won't cut it. See if the attack in the main does too much. It's not really... Because one of the Banshees are pretty low. If you can pick off one, the other one's not too hard to deal with.
Yeah, that's true. uThermal has similar ideas about where to take his third base.
Yeah, I really like the idea of this third, actually, the more and more we look at it. I think for me, if I was playing this map for the first time, I would be inclined to take the little hidden one and think, yeah, it's going to be safe. But it's... Even if you expand up here, it's still scary because these chokes are very, very far apart and very hard to actually defend your base from, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's worth noting, the way you did this, too, is he also walled off. So, the north side can't have a Ling run by come in through these depots. Or the engineering base.
Clever. Ling run bys have been pretty nice from Snute for at least 7 games. So
yeah, they were scarce in the previous one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so it wasn't really a fast double drop, but it is still going to be a double drop. That's how uThermal likes to play, is, harassment and dropping and whatnot. Not really about that direct push with tanks, although he does start tank production. Snute is going for not just roaches like he's always been doing, but also roach upgrades. Typically, he's been starting out with the melee first, but now that's 2 games where he starts out the missile first. I'll see if his intention is going up to Roach Ravager and Fester, or maybe he's going to try and get to that Quick Hive. I feel like on such a short map, though, Quick Hive is suicidal.
Agreed. But also at the same time, if he does get it, it could be beneficial because it's a very short reinforcement point. So it's again, pros and cons depending on, I guess, what the situation of the game is currently at. Now, this smoke actually provides high ground vision for those who don't know, so Snute can't actually see into it. He knew the drop was coming, but he couldn't actually move to do anything without an Overlord nearby. Just sitting around trying to kill a couple of the drones, picks up. I mean, this isn't meant to do crazy damage. It's meant to distract, because here's another drop that's trying to cancel a base.
Queens have been a very solid defense tool for Snute in all of these games. They've been providing transfuses on a couple of key units or key hatcheries, and they've been good at target firing the medevacs.
Let's say this Snute in general, though, he's a player who does like to play Queen heavy in almost all matchups. And I actually like him for it so much in Protoss as well. But versus Terran, yeah, finding some good effect. Sees the Infestation Pit come down. I'm surprised he doesn't try to focus that. That could really screw with the timing of said Hive. And there we go. Kills it. No cancel. Ooh, that's gas loss.
Yeah, that sucks for Snute. He can instantly replace it, though. He has a bit of a bank. Unfortunately, no queens over to the left side to get that medevac because it is so low. They're still trying to deal with this medevac over to the right side. Either way, this isn't devastating damage done by uThermal. uThermal, again, so many of these problems in the earlier games were that, he didn't have an army supply. He didn't have upgrades. He was just being overwhelmed without even really doing anything to deserve it. Now it's looking better. He has upgrades ahead of Snute and still a medevac to hopefully distract a good portion of Snute's army.
Yo, what is this sick Terran fleet up here? Can we just get some pilots? Jesus. Ghetto Banshees and stuff?
Yeah, it's like, oh no, this was not a good split from Snute. Oh wow, so many of these units were in the main base that, losing so many of those. Already a terrible start. In fact, maybe even snowball, game-ending kind of start. The tanks are going to target fire the hatchery, so that's going to go down.
I mean, in fairness, it was a fourth, not a huge necessity right now, but something he'll definitely need to replace. I like that he chose to pull back and not lose his army for it. The drones still haven't died yet, so it's not too unrecoverable.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you can just push this back, that'll be fine, but with the entrenched position of tanks and the reinforcement rally that's so quick, he's probably going to have to expand to the south.
Yeah. Now those drones are going to go down, so unfortunately, while he had saved them, rip, not so much anymore. Roach is going to try and conquer the top of the ramp. These tanks are sieged up. Ravagers need to focus them back and push them back with some corrosive biles, but there's not enough of them, and Snute is actually in a whole ton of trouble.
Man, looks like he's just going to lose here. No fourth base, not enough of an army, not a good enough army, even if there was more. Infestors are going to pop, but with no pathogen glands, so they're not going to be very helpful whatsoever. And uThermal's upgrades are about to finish. He's just going to win this game.
Wow.
Bringing it back.
Nicely done out of Uthermi. I mean, at this point, you can still take like a bad corrosive bile hit, fungal growth, and this could start looking like it could turn around. But Snute's already taken quite a bit of damage, and the upgrades being ahead for uThermal is pretty significant. Medevac's not getting hit by anything. The Marines are pretty much gone at this point. Maybe the tanks finally get cleaned up. At least pushes this back. But that army supply lead for uThermal still there in reinforcements at home, waiting to go for round 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool, by the way. I mean, I like seeing lots of Marines work. You expect to see a lot of Marauders in this army, but this is like Marine Tank Liberator. Like, what is this, a TVT with Liberators?
Yeah, that's a good point. Not bothering with the Marauders.
Well, so my curiosity raises for Snute, like, why no Banelings, right? Like, Corrosive Biles and Fungal Growths are great combinations, but a different unit style may end up working better against what uThermal's doing.
This is the first time that we really see uThermal pushing with a good tank push. It has been mostly about bio or Liberators every other game, so he might have been a little shocked by that, and how well it did on the push, so... It is just also, Snute's been doing nothing but roach into infestors and maybe into hive. There's been no mutilating from Snute.
Oh, those are some great corrosive bile hits, but we'll see if that's even going to be enough to matter. Snute's still getting pounced upon by the rest of the bio. Infestors are out of juice. GG. Looks like uThermal, man. He's going to bring this back almost to ace match periods. Not quite, but we're getting through the map pool and there's not a lot left. What we should probably do is ask if the players need a break. I guess we haven't really considered this for any of the best of 9s, but these are long times, and I need a break, so see if the players want one too. We're gonna
going on a break.
Okay, that works too. So we're gonna go to a break. It might be a little bit longer than normal. I'm just gonna run to the bathroom and back, so we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. The score is now 4-3 in the favor still of Snute. So there's 2 maps remaining. What's the other one, if not Gojira?
Namaste.
Yeah, so Namaste and Gojira are the 2 maps remaining. We'll see how far we go. We'll see you guys soon. Okay, we're back. Thank you guys for that slightly longer than normal ad break. As we are getting into Gojira. Green something. Greenhouse.
Greenhouse. Yeah. We have seen this map before.
Yeah, we got to see it for the first time yesterday, I believe.
Yeah. So the only maps we haven't seen a Flame Juggler, and that's it.
Yeah. Actually, I think Flame Juggler is literally the only map we haven't seen.
Core Hall Killzone? I don't think we've cast that one either, actually, because I would have brought up how much I hate Core Hall.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, we even saw Shiva at one point, too.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 maps we haven't seen.
Yeah, okay. Well, just waiting for Snute to join us. Of course, he took a bit of a break as well. And we're just needing a stretch and a deep breath after a very long back and forth series so far. Although it's more like back and then forth.
It's a very slow swing.
Yeah, like yesterday, Hearthstone and Puck, that was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is like back and forth.
I'm just waiting on Snute.
You can always tell when I've gotten up to go do something. By the way, if my green screen's like that, I always have to push it out of the way. I always forget to put it back. But, yeah, so after this is completed, this can only go to, like, 1 more game after this anyways, at most. Civil War will begin, a PvP tournament. So we've got another mega day of casting, one way or the other. We had initially planned to do about an hour or 2 of Civil War anyways. We'll probably keep it limited to that. Or we want to do a little more than that. But for day 1, we might just keep it a little bit less. And use today as more of, I think, like an intro. Get everyone acclimated and accustomed. And all that good stuff. But we'll talk about that more when we get there. The score is currently 4-3, but not in this gentleman's favor. He's still got 1 more comeback game to make to bring it to the ace match. In the bottom left side of Gojira Greenhouse, it's uThermal.
In the top right, as the blue Zerg, he is Liquid Snute.
And of course, cheer for him, Snute fans, as he is so close to locking this series down if he just win this 1 game. Quick shoutouts to the map maker of this. Oh, it's Avex again. Shocking.
Okay, so we found his 3rd map that it was picked, chosen, whatever.
I remember I had mentioned I liked the way the jagged edges of the terrain were, on top of the fact that the glowy ramps and side bits do look a bit like Foxtrot Labs, another map I really enjoyed aesthetically. Like right here, glowing lights. No real reason, but it looks nice.
Oh. Someone gave us a pick-me-up. Oh, no, never mind.
It was theirs. Don't... This guy in his damn name, $2, says...
Don't read this out loud.
Oh. I did read it. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you, man. I'll try and remember to do it after stream. We did like a 10-hour cast yesterday, and I just played Overwatch, so I fell asleep. So woke up, cast this, and that's our life in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. This is the last double day we have. Well, I have actually for a while. You have one again on Saturday.
No, we're moving that. That's part of what we need to
Oh,
talk
that's
about
right.
later. So, but we're still casting every single day of the week, one way or the other. Zombie, of course, will be missing for the weekend because she's going to a wedding.
Man, I don't even want. I don't want to go to the wedding or the bachelorette party or the rehearsal dinner. I just think it's really dumb that I have to be in not my house to do all three on 3 different days.
I really hope your friends don't watch what you do, because that would. Can you imagine the bride like, oh, you know what? I'm totally. Jess is streaming today. Let's tune. She what? You're uninvited from the bridal party.
Well, there's not gonna be anything to. I mean, hang out with my friends, I guess. Whatever. Anyways, enough complaints from me.
By the
I'm
way,
gonna
this
go
is why
partying all 3
Zombie Girl.
days.
This is why Zombie Girl's a terrible friend. Her attitude right there, like, I could hang out with friends, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. You wouldn't want to like. I guess we kind of did it in Houston, but that wasn't at the expense of leaving someone solo casting. So
That's true. I mean, I don't feel guilty about it. Let's talk about the map though a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, it's 2016. Yes, you can do what you like. This map has weird golds on it though, and what I mean by this, we look at this right now, and you're like, why would this be like this? Well, it does create a wall that can't be broken down like rocks can, to keep the natural base safe for a while. I don't know why I said that with a weird inflection on that word, but
natural.
hey, dear Bobby boy, you got your natural base there? Oh, that's great.
What was that? Was that hillbilly Irish?
No, someone in the audience hopefully will know what I was referencing. But anyways, the point is, this is safe. You could long distance mine the mineral patches, technically. You're better off just taking the base later on outside of this, though. But it's a strange and interesting dynamic. I really like that aspect, but you can still have things like, if uThermal was a little bit more, I guess, diligent, he could have knocked the Reaper over this wall, using the grenade trick, hop over, harass, get back out later, that sort of deal. But there really is only one entrance to your 2 bases, so it is like duck towers a little bit. It's safe. You don't have to worry about anything coming from the back door.
Yeah, it is pretty safe. In that way, it's macro map, so makes sense. Double Widow mines coming out of the reactors is a little odd to see. I'm sure that Snute probably would anticipate that being Hellions, considering the past couple of games as well, but no, it's Widow mines.
And he saw that too with the Overlord. So it's only 2 Widow mines. He's going to go for a little bit of a drop / scout, but this is going to swap off immediately to the starport. Oh, is that 4? Excuse me, 4 Widow mines. But still, the point being, the starport is really what intrigues me. I thought there'd be something else coming out of this, but if he's going straight to Liberator production, Snute really doesn't, like, if Snute was playing un-Snute-like and getting really all-in aggressive, I think uThermal just dies here. But anyways, the Widow mines will be dealt with. There is a Spore Crawler.
Yeah, this did not work out at all.
It's 1 hit? No hits. Wow, completely shut down. A couple of Lings died for that, but the medevac going down was already devastating through this drop. On top of the fact that 4 Widow mines got basically no damage done.
That is really, really bad. That is probably the worst 4 Widow mine drop I've ever seen. Quite unfortunate for uThermal, because the thing is, if he knows the queens and the...
Unfortunate.
If he knows the queens and the Spore Crawler are there, he just backs off and like goes somewhere else or uses them defensively or what have you. But it was like the queens, they were only just coming down and the Spore Crawler only just finished. It's unfortunate. Not totally game ending, but certainly not what you would want. And Snute should feel pretty good defending like he did. He is going for a lair now, and he's got those melee upgrades here, but that usually does not stay for Mutilating Bling. It does transfer over into Roaches, and then, ideally, Ultras much later on.
Well, Spore Crawler going to try and position itself. I don't know if you can abuse Liberators. I would imagine right here there could be a sweet spot. Not where he is, but to the left, on account of the mineral patches blocking out the Spore Crawler from the center. But either way, the Spore Crawler will maneuver itself. Snute pulling the queens back, trying to minimize losses. It's a little bit of lost mining and a little bit of lost positioning, but as we see, the Spore Crawler does reach. Kind of a cute move to try and kill the Overlord, but with its damage being nerfed the way it was, you can't really kill even Overlords easily with Liberators. I didn't even consider that till just now, but these are going to deal 10 damage a shot to the Overlords, not even if there's upgrades for armor.
Ooh. Yeah, that sucks. But well done, Avex, for like not letting that Liberator be an abusive spot. Because I think that's uThermal looked at it and was like, "Oh, that should be a good one." But
well, I think there is an abusive spot. I just think he didn't take advantage of it. Like over here, like by this tree, I'm trying to. It's not showing very well what I indicate, but point of it is, I think there is actually a spot over here. There's not though. Thank goodness. He's actually done this well with the map.
Uh oh. Hey, that Queen's gonna die.
Second Liberator is gonna also be able to kind of just dance around the Spore Crawler after reposition. So he's gonna bleed out some workers. Certainly annoying, but he's going for a Spire this time, and I think he knows he doesn't want this to get too crazy. With Corruptors being better than ever against Liberators, he'll be able to build even just a couple. Doesn't even have to invest in too many.
Yeah, it's interesting to finally see a Spire after so much of, a lot of these games have had Liberator troubles either early game or late game, and he just hasn't bothered with the Spire.
So this will open up a path around the map once the minerals mine out. That's kind of a cool aspect. Queen gonna kill this one Liberator. Yep, gonna go down. Ravager's finishing up now too, so this has been an annoying problem, but probably shouldn't persist for too much longer.
Yep, turn it off.
Nice shots.
So we're not Spire to finish. See how much he's gonna dedicate to it. He obviously went for Roaches as well, but never upgraded their speed, so...
I like the idea of not even dedicating to the Spire, but even just having a couple of Mutas or Corruptors, because once again, uThermal up to a point gets his strength from drops and multi-prong attacks. And if you're shutting the Medivacs down, then it's a non-issue.
I mean, as good as Snoot's been defending against the drops in the last 7-8 games, it would obviously be easier with Aspire. So she's an easier option, and he is going to be going for Mutilating Bling, so he is mixing it up. I think this should really throw uThermal off. He might really be expecting the whole Roach Infestor thing again, because he saw the Ling upgrades, but the Roaches out in the field, so it looks like the last 7 games. But the Baneling Nest is on the way, even though it's like super, super, super late, so Baneling speed won't even be an issue for quite some time. But I think the benefit of it being such a big map, Snute like certainly has the time, and eventually the creep spread to buy a lot more time.
This is nice, just loving on the other side of it. Definitely annoying. Those minerals are so perfectly placed. That bothers me. That bothers me more than the ones on Dassan Station or whatever that are like really weirdly clumped. It's like people with teeth that are too perfect. Like, what did you do to get those teeth?
Did you kill someone?
Yeah. Are they even real?
Oh, I think Snute transferred workers to the gold base because this wasn't killing any workers. Yeah, but somehow more workers went down.
Well, lots of Lings died, but he kills the Medivacs for it. And again, this is where I really like the Mutas and the idea of them. More importantly, though, identifying the extreme bio play. Snute now gets to go to a playstyle that he's, I would say, definitely more comfortable with. Hive on the way, finishing up here in a second. Melee upgrades, armor upgrades, Ultralisks on deck and in queue. This is a game that I think Snoot's going to be a lot more comfortable playing, but the problem is he's been denied so much mining, and his expansions have had trouble up to this point, so it's not easy going to the late game like this.
Yeah, I don't know about it being an easy game, man. There's not a lot of mutas to help take care of the tank problem. There's no Baneling speed. There's no Banelings in general. I mean, it was a big map, and Snute had some creep spread to fall back on, but I think this was just too little. He's gonna get demolished.
Corrosive Bile's not hitting much of anything. Some friendly fire from the tank doing more damage to the Marines than the Lings are, but you're right, like, no Banelings made this an impossible fight to take. Do you not have
my God.
Yes, he does.
He made it, but so late. But yeah, he never even started choosing little hooks. This is game over. Base goes down. Roaches can't really take on the rest of uThermal's army when his reinforcements arrive.
We talked about earlier the dangers of possibly going for like fast hive, and that's kind of what we're seeing in play now. The money for Snoot's there. He can throw down an Ultralisk Cavern if he wanted to, but I don't think the time is going to allow him to get enough, or even Chitinous Plating out. Dancing around with the Medivacs. Those Mutas died, so of course there's nothing to chase them down. Very unfortunate. Trying to deal with the Marines on the front lines. More reinforcements coming. It's 4 times the army supply. It's not looking good for Snute.
No, it is not.
Oh, are we actually going to the ace match?
We're going to the ace match, which would be on Namaste, by the way, the last map available. And that does have a very good tank spot. So if uThermal realizes, like, hey, tanks have been pretty good so far, let's do it again, he might be able to punish Snute.
But that's only if Snute takes that one particular gold base.
Oh, there's 2 bases I think that Ledge would abuse. The gold base and then the base to the north. I think both are very good for the tanks.
Well, I am surprised to see this go to the ace match, especially with how like cavalier and like laid back uThermal's been. Like, I don't care about the maps, just give it to me in whatever alphabetical order possible. Like, almost at the start of this, thought he was phoning it in when it was like a 4-0. Like, it's just, Jesus. But he's really fought his way back from defeat, and now we find ourselves going to the very last possible game. One last map remaining in this best of 9. 4-4. We're going to go to a break, and we'll find out what happens on Namaste when we... Cherry blossom, cherry blossom. That's a terrible intro. Getting into game number 9, it's tied up 4-4, and this is the last possible match. I see some ace matches being spammed in chat. We don't get to use that emote too often, so I want to see you guys do it even more. But with cherry petals blossoming and falling from the sky in such a beautiful manner, in the top left side of Namaste, we've got the blue Zerg player, Team Liquid Snute.
In the top right, as the red Terran, he is uThermal.
So the little cherry blossom effect is kind of cool. I do want to remind people it only seems to take place on the bases in the corners and in the middle of the map for some reason. So this isn't something laggy that'll be all over the place. But I sadly do fear that this is something Blizzard would probably remove the same way they took the snow out of like Neoplanet S and some of the other maps.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we got to drive home for the maps, and again, this one is made by Avex. We already know that, so shout out, etc. One of the things about a lot of these maps that I think is really cool for us now, but will be much different when these approach the ladder, is Blizzard does have to tone these down significantly. And hopefully that doesn't take away too much from the appeal of, for example, again, Namaste.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality, but it helps the lower-end computer users, I suppose.
So we also have the bases around here. You had mentioned the tank stuff. For those who didn't see BCQD versus Lambo yesterday, there was a pretty gross situation where we had Lambo take the gold base, and BC could just knock down these rocks and sit on the top of this cliff with a tank, and it's just bad news bears. So Snute doesn't really find himself in that situation if he doesn't expand that direction. It's really appealing to take like these 4 bases because they're so close, but going south and more spread out might be more beneficial. I don't know if either of these players watched the games yesterday, but they're both smart enough to figure that out on their own, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Snute's been playing pretty smart to the maps. You know, all the trickery that have existed on the other maps they've played in that were played in the first TVZ, he's usually fixed. He
did remark earlier that he has not practiced on any of these, though. Like, he probably took a look at them, but I don't think he actually like played versus the AI or anything like that.
Yep. Well, we'll see very shortly, really, soon. And of course, uThermal will want to be on top of that scouting with the Reaper, seeing if he can abuse some tanks, if that is his plan. Originally, he wasn't really a tank guy, but in the last 2 games, they've been working out really well for him. So I hope he continues. And well, I guess Snute has been going for roaches most of the game in some type of capacity, whether it's just, you know, like a few, and then he's actually going for mutilating bling like last game, or, you know, going for roach ravager. This is a very early roach warren, but I think it's similar time to 2 games ago, so I'm not sure it's for a push, just for a potential defense.
Well, we'll see what direction this goes. I mean, uThermal has been consistently attacking early on, whether it's successful, whether it's Widowmines or Hellions, or even Marines. Like, he hasn't really played turtly at
he
any
isn't.
point.
That's always been some aggression, but I noticed that Snute was no longer droning. He was waiting on Overlord to give him a bit of a boost in supply, so it is going to be at least a roach rush. Like, not like, you know, lings or banelings, but at least these roaches are going to get sent out. And okay, there's the droning behind it, so really not an all-in, but something that could do a lot of damage to someone who's only getting Hellions. But uThermal's not only getting Hellions, he is getting a Banshee as well, so these roaches are going to be a lot better off just staying at home. Especially if the Hellions decide to run in. As the roaches, I guess they're breaking on the rocks. They're out of position.
Yeah, trying to open up positions.
Yeah, well, it is only 2 Hellions. I guess the Queens could take care of that, no problem. I thought Snute wasn't going to get many lings behind this, but I was wrong. Just like 4 more drones and then back into army production. So it's getting more and more dedicated as time goes on. As legs turn into army units. The Reaper is just barely not going to see the exit of the army. A couple of lings is not too suspicious.
At the same time, the army's not at home, so these Hellions running in, looking for kills. Drone's trying to split. Nowhere to really split too.
The Banshee should really take care of anything that's happening on uThermal's side as well. This should just be good damage for uThermal.
Yeah, like this is the timing for this is like combination lucky and unfortunate. One Marine outside of the bunker. Okay, goes inside of the bunker now. Ravager morphing in over here gets the other Roach a little bit stuck. That's been awkward to see, but he can't really break this with the SCVs on top of it. But with only one Marine's worth of damage, I'm not surprised he decided to stay.
Both Banshees went over to the other side of the map, so they're coming back now. Here we are.
Hasn't broken this just yet, but even once he does, can he get enough damage before the Banshees clean it up? This is a situation we've seen familiar amongst many matchups where, like, okay, cool, you've got the Roaches, and there are Banshees, but they kill so much before you actually clean them up. Choose to kill the reactor is kind of an interesting point. Snute, of course, has not recovered his drones behind this just yet, but still looking to push forward, and a lot of focus on these Roaches trying to get kills. Yeah. He walks into his own Corsair battle. That's awkward. Ravagers went down, though. It's just Roaches at this point. Snute's not really getting a lot of damage here in this very important ace match. And what's more is, like, there's going to be 3 Banshees countering after this. There's only Spore Crawlers and not many Queens. This is actually a really scary position for Snute to be in.
Yeah. A ton of Hellions on the ground as well. There's no more Roaches. They can just roast and toast the drones. The third base has not been scouted by uThermal, and it might never be. He's really dedicated to attacking into that natural. I feel like eventually it should, especially with the creep going down that way. But the focus is on the natural for now. I like the forward Spore Crawler.
Yeah, somebody's telling he's almost dead too. Him opening the rocks up there also is now very dangerous. He's opened another path where he could get attacked from. He's trying to get some more Roaches out. I'm surprised he's still droning. He needs to, obviously, but it's dangerous to do in this situation. Oh, there's no Spore Crawler up here just yet. He's got to transfuse that Queen. Misses the transfuse. He's got a couple ready to go.
It's still pretty dangerous, but with 4 Queens and Spore Crawlers in the natural and to the front, I don't think he'll be able to get the hatchery.
The Roaches can protect against the Hellions. That's the nice thing for Snute. That's like the saving grace right now. This got really scary because, again, he put a lot of drones behind this. That was risky. If it pays off, it's going to get him back into this game after that failed attack, but that's also a hard thing to have pay off. 2 Banshees go down. Hellions go to the other side of the map, but Snute predicted this and moves his Roaches accordingly. Although not accordingly. Was accordingly. Past tense. Hello, Snute. Oh no!
Well, that was tricky from uThermal. Misses the drone transfer, so this is going to do less damage if the drones aren't all lined up, and actually tries to go into the main base. That's going to give Snute time to pull and think about how he's going to pull the drones away. He does line up again, though.
Splits at the last second. He's actually maintained this pretty decently, and of course, while this was going on, he did get a gold base up and running. Spore Crawler even planted down here, so Banshees will find a couple of odd spots to poke, but uThermal's dedicated a lot through this. I want to stress that, like, while the damage was questionable, Stim was delayed. +1 was delayed. There's no combat shields yet. Like, his Bioforce has been stunted by this attack.
Yes,
I mean, how
certainly.
many Banshees was that? That's like 500 gas, something like that.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot, and it delayed all of those upgrades. But I think the damage it did and the the macro of Snute is also messed up. That I still put uThermal in a better position. Like, he's been almost even on workers the entire time. You count for mules, usually that's pretty good. Although in this case, it didn't account for the gold. And just take a look at the income graph. Nope, uThermal's been winning.
Well, actually, you can see right there where Snute transferred, though. It really evened it up. I mean, this is like heavily one-sided here, but this is actually pretty good for mining on both sides now.
I still think uThermal's production is going to be better as time goes on.
Oh, it will absolutely skyrocket at some point. That's just Terran for you in a nutshell.
Of course, Snute, he's going for Roaches. He doesn't have any upgrades on said Roaches, and they're going to be pretty damn bad without those upgrades or without any sort of numbers to them as well.
It looks like he's going back towards focusing on Ravagers, though. And I mean, we saw this earlier. It's won him a majority of the games already today.
Yeah, those Ravager shots have been pretty good. We'll see how they make up for such serious disadvantage in the upgrades, because eventually you're just gonna, the upgraded bio will just bust through and stim forward and kill everything anyway. I guess this could be a little bit of an abusive spot for the Liberators. Queen to take forever to get back there without creep, but not so bad. It's only one shot away.
Well, the Spore Crawler does a good job of making sure this won't come in, as long as there's an Overlord there. And again, Overlords will take a long time to kill for Liberators with their recent damage versus anything except light nerf. Team Medevac segmented to the north. Actually, the Overlords are out of position for this, so Snute will see this. We'll see if he can react to it in time. I mean, all you gotta do is have Lings on the ground underneath them to catch units unloading, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
By the way, this is... I love the comeback here from uThermal. We have a lot of people discussing this in chat right now, and this is one of the big reasons I love casting him and inviting him to our stuff, because this is a guy who will come back. He's a guy who will lose 4-0, but then somehow bring it back almost 5-4. Like, if this was a best of 3, he was gone forever ago. If this was a best of 5, he lost this a long time ago.
Yeah, he's probably gonna win it too at the rate this is going, unless Snute can really get that Ravager Infestor combo.
I'm like 50-50 on that. I mean, first off, you just cursed him, so now more like 75-25. But furthermore, he's also been like those fungal corrosive bile combos have been so sick. I believe in the power of them. Should Snute get to a decent army size with them?
Yeah, he's still waiting on Infestors though. Gonna wait for the Pathogen Glands as well. And he's gonna start having some more trouble with these bases. Okay, so the Banshee wasn't what I was thinking of, but if he expands down south, but his army's up north, that's where drops uThermal are gonna be very powerful. Again, super well upgraded too.
Yeah, these are a couple of Ravagers waiting. Oh, they're gonna be low on the front lines. Lings in front of those, please.
Yeah. Could probably set herself and do something, but he is focusing on a drop that could maybe do more, as he sees no army, but there it is, coming in now. Pick up.
I'm wondering if uThermal's going to misunderstand what this composition is, though, because it is a little bit awkward. You see a significant amount of Lings invested into. There's no upgrades to check and click on and say, oh, it's definitively ranged or not. I mean, that's bad for Snute, too. His upgrades are late, but no Banelings in play should be the biggest indicator of what's going on.
Yeah.
These dual attacks, though, might be a little bit too hard to deal with.
The main push. Yeah, the main push is actually so scary. Again, the tank's taking the spot as Snute did try and take the gold.
I just want to know how many Lings he just killed with a small amount of Marines, but as he holds one of the golds, he does retreat back and can mine off of it. His mining's been fine. The mineral income's not been an issue for Snute. A lot of this really does come down to timing, though. Pathogen Glands and Infestors only just now popping.
Very close. Tanks are... Oh, wow. This is actually... Once tanks are in that position...
It's hard to break,
good.
no doubt about it. Infestors coming out. They're going to pop with Fungals, launching them best he can, but he's going to lose those Infestors. The army's just chilling, too scared to engage.
Yeah, well, they can't they can't fight without each other. The Infestors go down, the Ravagers will probably fall after. That's not all of uThermal's army fighting, however, so Snute's taking an okay fight to begin with. Here we go now, collapsing in on him.
Snute's got a decent army supply, though. This isn't looking too terrible just yet, but uThermal's taking a great fight, win or lose, out of this. Coming in from the backside with some Lings just on top of that tank. Tanks were only 2, but they did so much damage. Upgrades rocking for uThermal 2-2 as he wipes out Snute's army. And well, this was even. It's not anymore. The comeback is real.
So real.
So this kind of, it's a little bit sad if you're a Snute fan, obviously, but really exciting if you're a uThermal fan who, again, this guy just doesn't get big results, and it's really nice to see him play well. And I think that beating somebody like Snute certainly speaks volumes when you know Snute has got such a good TVZ. But we got to see some broken things on these maps. We got to see some not broken things on these maps. But we did get to see a lot of new maps today, as both matches went almost 9 games. But that is going to conclude the map contest tournament. However, we're not done streaming yet. We're going to take a small break while we set up. I have to go get Hearthstone and Drogo and make sure everyone's good to go, because we've got the Civil War tournament coming up now. Let me just quickly load this up and show you guys this cool overlay. Nope, there we go. There we go. Now we look fantastic. But we're going to take a break and get things sorted. So here's 2 things to talk about for this. The t-shirt sales are not available yet. Hopefully they'll be up soon. But the t-shirt sales I can show previews of once we get the show started and once we got games underway. But this is going to be done a little bit different. And to show you guys another screen for a moment, there's no brackets for this tournament. It's going to be a board game. We're going to see people moving their pieces across the board and such. So we're going to sort that out in a moment's time. But small break before we do. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with the Civil War when we